Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Welch's knows some things make zero sense, like why the algorithm knows your music tastes better than you do. But zero sugar and full flavor? We made that make sense with new Welch's Zero Sugar. All that passion fruit or tropical punch goodness and none of the sugar. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
This week, in Clarence, Iowa, a filthy relationship may be the reason for the brutal killing of a young woman, but once her mother is accused, the whole thing just gets weird. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another crazy edition of Small Town Murder. My goodness, do we have a wild one for you today. I've been saying this about every state lately, but I'm starting to realize that everywhere is crazy. It's not just certain states. Yeah. Like today we're in Iowa. Iowa never lets us down. It's always nuts. But neither does Ohio or West Virginia or Florida or New Jersey or, there's so many, Arizona, many states that we have for that. So this one, absolutely nuts. Quickly before we get started, thank you for your reviews this week. They help a lot. Whatever app you're listening on, 5 stars is helpful. Figure out a way and say something. It helps out the show a lot. Do that. Virtual live show, May the 5th. My goodness.
Boy.
Get your tickets right now at shutupandgivememurder.com. That is May the 5th, and it's available for 72 hours after that. So you can buy it and watch it as many times as you want. You can buy it, the next day. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Enjoy, but get your tickets right now. And also get your tickets for all the live shows coming up. All these sold-out live shows, since they're rescheduled, they do let people return them since they were rescheduled. So if they're sold out, which a lot of them are, you can keep checking back, and sometimes tickets pop up here and there. So keep look and get your tickets now and see us. Come hang out with us, though, for Cinco de Mayo. We can't wait for that virtual live show.
Be so fun.
We are excited for that. So do that and get your tickets there. Have fun there. And patreon.com/crime and sports. So much good stuff there. That is where you get all of the bonus stuff. And this week is no different. $5 or above, anybody at that level, you are going to get 2 episodes. This week, you're going to get access to Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder and the whole back catalog. You're getting it all for $5. That's less than coffee. So why not? This week, you're going to get, for Crime and Sports, the fabulous Moolah we're going to talk about, who is the kind of impresario of women's wrestling. She trained all the women wrestlers for about half a century, and in addition to that, took a lot of their money and, from what a lot of the girls said, did a lot of terrible things to them and forced them to do a lot of terrible things for money.
Took their money and their dignity.
Not good at all. So we'll talk all about that. And speaking of gross, for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about Jeffrey Dahmer stuff.
Oh, boy.
As you know, we're not going to just say, oh, he killed this many people and this is what he did. Thank you. Good night. We're going to go into a deep dive of little certain areas. We're going to talk about how he got caught, how he didn't get caught, and kind of little weird things around his arrest and the whole figuring out who the hell this guy was. We'll get into that. So fun. That is patreon.com/crime and sports, where you get all of that and a shout out at the end of the show. You get it all. It's so great. And from there, it's disclaimer time, everybody. Quickly, we're comedians. Okay, this is a comedy show about real stories. There's no embellishment for humor, nothing like that. We couldn't make this stuff up. This is crazy stuff. So, and we wouldn't want to. It's just too crazy, and we don't have to. Is the thing. Where if you don't think true crime and comedy jokes should ever go together, this might not be for you, but it might be, because we are careful. Put it that way. We know we're professional comedians, and we know where the funny is, and it's not around the actual murder. That's the thing. There's nothing funny about someone cutting someone's head off. That's not funny. The funny part is someone trying to get away with murder. That's hilarious. That's a dumb thought to have. So what we do, though, is we go out of our way not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why, James?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags. That's how that works right there. So if that sounds good to you, it's going to be a fun time. And I think that you should possibly clear the lungs, sit back, and shout, Shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmy.
Okay.
Let's go on a trip, shall we? Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'd like it.
Not too far, going from Oklahoma over to Iowa here. Clarence, Iowa.
Oh.
Yeah, named after Clarence. Some guy named Clarence that lived there when we got there.
Not Thomas?
How you doing? I'm Clarence. How are y'all? It's in eastern Iowa over here. It's about 40 minutes to Cedar Rapids. That seems to be the closest kind of big place. It's almost 2.5 hours to Des Moines and 4 hours and 35 minutes to Shenandoah, Iowa, which was our last Iowa episode, the Night Stalker training program. Is
that right?
Yeah, that was a wild one, too. I remember that. This is in Cedar County, area code 563. The motto here, this makes no sense, okay, because I have to tell you about the punctuation, because that's where it's weird. The motto is Clarence, it's the word Clarence, then in quotes, welcomes you. That's it.
That feels threatening.
That's on their sign. Welcomes you. Like, yeah, that's what I mean. Welcomes you means you get punched in the throat when you cross the town border. Yeah. Welcomes you. You know how we welcome people here in Clarence, right? Very weird. The community originally was called Onion Grove.
Gross.
That doesn't sound appealing to move there. Moving to
stinky, yeah.
Well, it was because of the widespread growth of wild onions. There. That's why there's tons of onions. So
is this the second week in a row that there's been onions?
I don't know what's up
prevalent
with the onions.
What the fuck is going on with the onions?
What's happening with these onion communities? We've dealt with people doing wild rice picking. They're ricing. We were like, are they picking rice? Is that how rice works? We were very surprised by that. Is that how you
60-40 onion burgers?
One grain at a time. Then we had the onion burgers in Oklahoma, and then now we have this. It was Onion Creek. They moved the village. They wanted to be closer to the railroad line. They weren't important enough for the railroad line to put right by them. So we're like, well, pack it up, Eric. We're going to the railroad. Fuck them. They don't want to come to us. We will come to you.
Bet you the onions grow there too.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there was. Yeah. So we're moving away from the onions. Shit, they're still onions. So they moved there to be close to the railroad line, and that's when they changed the name to Clarence from Onion Grove, not because Onion Grove is a terrible name for a town and no one will want to live there, not because of that,
but also
because a guy who lived there already, his name, by the way, is Richard Gere, which, yes.
Stop it.
It's Richard Gere. No shit, same spelling and everything here.
Really?
Richard Gere was from a town called Clarence, New York.
So they named it that.
So why don't we name it that? And it was incorporated as Clarence in 1866.
Yeah.
Richard Gere had a store here with a guy named Fish.
Store?
It was called Fish and Gear. I couldn't make that. I was like, don't say it, Jimmy. Let me get to Fish and Gear first, because
that's the greatest name.
Fish and Gear. That's amazing, is it
that's
not?
Awesome.
It sounds like a pet store that sells small,
that's fantastic,
small, birds, fish, small furry animals of different types, that sort of thing. So
hamsters are awesome.
just different. Damn it, Jimmy!
Fish and
See,
Gear.
You had to say it, didn't you? It's so much funnier to dance around it. Damn you.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. That's the skill of comedy.
I don't know. I really like when it's right.
You're walking around with a dad joke cudgel, like what's that?
Right in your face.
Pull my finger. You're a professional comedian.
Is Fish and Gear, was it a fishing store?
No, it was just Fish and Gear. The other guy's name was Fish.
Yeah, but is it just a general store?
No, it was it was a store that was in a room above the Presbyterian Church.
I hate all of it.
It sounds terrible.
They're really blowing it.
See, that's funny. That's funny. Now you're doing it. That's something you can be proud of, damn it. See?
They could move so many rods and reels. God damn it.
So many, but nope. Instead, this place was burned in 1865, of course.
They fucking deserved it.
They deserved it. There's weird shit going on above the church. It's worth burning the church, too, we think. It's that weird. It's just so weird. We're going to burn the church and everything, and we're going to move the town over near the railroad because we don't even want to be near the spot where this took place. It's that fucking weird what's happening here. It's just weird. No, Richard, you ain't coming with us. You stay here. You ain't coming. You stay.
It's the greatest business that is ruined ever.
How amazing is that? I had to look up where the hell who this Richard Gere guy was, and I'm like, no fucking way. He had a store that sounded like a pet shop. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Low hanging, maybe, but it's in our faces. It's low hanging like somebody's nutsack bouncing off your forehead. You can't ignore it. It's right there. So,
wow.
Anyway, reviews of this town quickly. There's no reviews of Clarence really. On a couple, it's hard to find a review of Clarence. I did find one here. There's one from Sperling's Best Places is on this one. That's the only. Usually they don't have reviews too much on that site. So, Clarence is a nice, clean, small town. There's a small eatery, a Casey's General Store, and a bar. Not much else. Housing is cheap, and for $100,000, you can buy a lot of house on a big lot. You are centrally located between Cedar Rapids and Iowa City. Jesus.
Boy.
Dreams can come true. Between both, I can go to both of those places? Holy shit. Pinch me, Jimmy. Roll over here and pinch me, please, because this is too much for me. I can't take it.
Holy shit.
I'm going to have a stroke from excitement. And Iowa City? And Iowa Cedar Rapids is one thing, but and Iowa City? Now I'm going to...
Centrally located.
I got to change my underwear now. Jesus Christ. It's too much.
I came and shit.
That's what I mean. That's just, they're trashed. We're going to have to take a small break, everybody, while we reconstitute our undergarments. It's been a real problem over here.
Iowa City.
Oh, and,
Cedar Rapids.
Lived her about 10 years is actually what the review says. No,
he spelled it how he pronounced it.
Lived her. Now, the next one is for Cedar County. This is for the county it's in. All right. Now, this is funny. I don't know. I'm going to read it like it's fucking typed. 4 stars. Okay. It is the first city that I lived in. Very quiet city with courtesy people. courtesy
boy.
people. And they have little vests on. I'm the courtesy person.
Courtesy people.
And L jointed the college here. I don't know what L jointed the college is. Wow. I'm planning to spend the rest of my life here looking after my kids because it is really awesome place for me to raise my kids in. This sounds like a foreigner. Someone came. English is not their first language. He said this is the first city I lived. So it sounds like they came to America. That's where they moved, and now they're writing a review of how great it is in English. Okay. And it's I would prefer your language, and I'll just translate, and that way I'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the Google button.
Although I can't speak that well in any other language, so never mind.
That's very impressive.
Hats off. There you go.
Yeah, I don't think that if I moved to any country that spoke a different language, that I'd be able to grasp it in 5 years. How long would it take you? Probably
a long
5
time.
years, right?
The longer it went, the worse it would be. Put it that way. It would just
the more
be
frustrating.
I have no idea.
Can we just do it in English?
Worse and worse and worse here.
I barely have that one.
I'm tenuous grasp on English. People in this town, 965, so it's a small little town. Few more males than females, which is actually the opposite of normal. Average age is high. 51 is the average age here.
Holy shit.
Normally about 37 and a half. A lot of people over 55. 65 to 74, very high. 85 and over, that population is 9% of the population almost here.
Is that right?
Usually not even 2%. Here it's so a lot of older people here. You don't come here to party. You come here to die or to retire or you stay here. Or outlast, yeah. I'm sure a lot of older people, they're living long here.
No doubt.
So it's about 50-50 married, which is normal. Most of the stats on these are normal, except for races, not quite normal here. 98.8% white.
Yeah.
That is very white. 0.5% black. And 0.8% Hispanic. That's all you get here. So it's a small town in Iowa, in rural Iowa. What kind of diversity you're looking for here. Religion in this town, 44% religious, which is below the national average. And they're spread around pretty good. Methodists, a couple of Lutherans, you got a Presbyterian or two. It's spread around pretty there's no demonstrative shit really in this area. It's no one is... You know what I mean? It's not everybody just kind of keeps, don't talk about that in public. We're all just kind of go with the flow, meet down at the feed store, and then go back to our farms and talk shit to our wives and how that kind of thing works.
To our likes.
Yeah. 0.0% Jewish. Last election, it was 40.5% Democrat, 57.6% Republican, and 2% independent in this town, or 1.9% actually. The economy here, unemployment rate's about normal with the rest of the country, very low. The median household income here, though, is about $42,574. So the average is 53 and a half. So it's a little bit low. But the cost of living also low. 100 is average. Here it's 80. So that's the low on the cost of living meter. Housing, though, is very low. Median home cost here, $126,900.
Awesome.
That's very, very low here. And if we've convinced you, damn it, to slow down your pace of life and just take it down a little bit here, we have for you the Clarence, Iowa Real Estate Report. Your average two-bedroom rental here goes for about $733, which is normally over $1,200 in the rest of the country. Here you have a three-bedroom, one-bath, 1,152 square foot house here, little house. It's pretty trashy on the inside, real crusty. Yeah. There's a big spot that looks like smeared shit, but you can tell it's not smeared shit. It's tile and glue and some brown shit mixed with water stains that is now
on the wall?
Yes, a ceiling and wall that now looks like smeared shit. Furniture is in the basement for some reason. I don't know why. It's a very strange little house, but $65,000 for that place. So
there you go.
I mean, it's cheap. You can clean it out. Two bedroom, one bath, 1,024 square feet. Okay. Now, you would probably have more if you got rid of all the little shit in it. It's got a lot of knickknacks in it. There's stuff. It's the type of house where the refrigerator is 100% covered in magnet. Oh, you know what I mean? It's one of those where it's like lined up so it covers the whole fridge. And
everywhere they go, they pick one up.
shit on every shelf and like Hummel crap and shit you don't even know what it is. All
You got
sorts of shit.
1,000 square feet. You got to do that simply.
It's stuffed with this stuff. You think you'd want some room. The bathroom is extremely purple. Just real purple, but no shit smear looking things on, so that's positive. $139,000 for that, so still excessively cheap, kind of your average house. Then I found this little beauty here. This is something actually. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,904 square feet. So nice house, 2-story. It's very bland on the inside. It was clearly remodeled in the 70s and hasn't been touched since. Wood panel, old kitchen. But I'm looking at the house and the shape of the doorways and things like that. I'm like, this looks like really old, good architecture, though.
Yeah.
And I looked it up. It was built in 1893.
Holy shit.
So it has very cool architecture and probably some like nice flooring under the shit that they, like the linoleum they stuck down and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just under this 70s remodel. So this, you could probably restore this house to be like a grand old house. It's pretty cool. $145,000 for that.
How fascinating is it that 70s decoration and architecture really fucking ruined a lot?
It was just, we need to make shit cheap. Let's make it cheap and reproducible. That's all it was.
Right.
Like,
cover all this shit. Yeah.
It was bad. Now, things
cover
to do.
all the unique.
I'll cover that right up. We don't need that. You mess up that wood floor, then it costs money to fix. So just stick linoleum to it. Be perfect. You just stick more linoleum on top of it. So things to do. This is right from the site, the website. Come see our replica Statue of Liberty. I don't know why they need a replica Statue of Liberty. Come see our replica Statue of Liberty. Remodeled restrooms. Oh, boy, the shitters are fixed, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Come on down to Clarence. The shitters are fixed. You don't have to jiggle the handle anymore in Clarence, Iowa. That's their motto. And entrance lights at the city park. Great. Let's see. 2 enclosed shelters, the Lions Open Shelter, and an open shelter with kitchen are available for parties and reunions. A disc golf course is available at the city park for your enjoyment. Terrific. Come see our mural of the history of Clarence located on the side of the old City Hall building. Jesus Christ, this is depressing here. We have a high quality of life marked by clean air, a strong work ethic, belief in family values, concern for each other, cooperation, and a sense of pride. We feel that rural Iowa provides a good environment for all ages, especially for raising children.
Okay.
Here we go. Now, here's some events. One event is called Fall in Love with Clarence. Which sounds like there's just this guy named Clarence sitting there, and they're like, someone fucking fall. He's been single a long time. Somebody love him. And they sit him down.
He's so goddamn charming, it's a challenge to not fall in love with him.
Fall in love with Clarence. He's like, hi.
I dare you.
He's singing Tom Jones and shit. We're like, everyone loves Clarence. It says the Clarence Main Street Promotion Committee is excited to announce the 3rd annual Fall in Love with Clarence. I guess it didn't work the first 2 years. An autumn festival celebrating all the wonderful things about our community. Take a look around you and see the changes being made, new and fun events happening, and pride in our community growing. Be sure to attend the festival and take part in any or all of the events planned. Pumpkin decorating contest. Gee, that'll be a lot of fun. That looks like all the events, though, that really they have.
It'll be a quick day.
The winner will have his or her picture taken with their pumpkin and receive $10 in Clarence cash.
What?
So it's not even real money. It's just, you have to. Wow, that's terrible. You can't even buy drugs with it. You have to spend it like on Main Street.
Right. You gotta go buy an ice cream cone.
Or like go to the dry cleaner. There is an Elvis house tour.
Oh, wait,
now,
what?
What does that say to you? Elvis had a house there.
Elvis used to live there, right?
No, it's actually the home of Frida Bixler, and she'll be opening her home on September 18th for a free self-guided tour to view her Elvis memorabilia. That's an event. Go to this old lady's house and look at her Elvis shit that she's collected over the years. That's amazing. That's an event in this town. Jimmy, go to Frida's house. She's got Elvis stuff. You can go look at it.
Did she volunteer it, or did somebody say, I don't know, you guys, Frida's got a bunch of Elvis shit?
I think Frida will be surprised when you show up at her house. And excuse me? I mean, I guess you can see it. I don't know. Sure. I love Fall Sweep on Main Street. That's another one they have here.
Fall Sweep?
Fall Sweep on Main Street. Bring your family, your gloves, and a shovel, bucket, or push broom, and be a part of sprucing up downtown. Pardon?
Come on down and clean some shit for us.
What a weird fucking thing. So, yeah, we'll be decorating for fall, picking up trash, and sweeping some sidewalks in the Clarence Main Street district. All right, sure, why not? Bring a bucket. The next thing sounds very creepy. The Bill Riley Talent Search. And it's part of the Cedar County Fair. In 1946, Iowa Falls native Bill Riley emceed variety shows held at the Iowa State Fair by a radio station. In 57, Bill approached Fair Secretary Lloyd Cunningham about showcasing talented kids during the state fair. Oh, God, no, I don't like that. 2 years later, Bill Riley's first Iowa State Fair talent search was held. By August of 1959, Bill had crisscrossed the state holding numerous talent shows. Oh, Jesus, God, this sounds awful.
63 is arrested.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, he retired at 96. It's still going on. Today, the talent search is still thriving through his son, Bill Riley Jr. Jesus, it's just adding up with red flags here. Nearly 100 local qualifying shows are held across the state with 7 days of preliminary competition for sprouts, ages 2 to 12.
Ain't that.
Oh, and seniors, ages 13 to 21. Well, all aged out of being fuckable at that point. You know what I mean? That's their seniors, they call it. That's the senior circuit. This is disgusting.
Right up.
Followed by semifinals and ultimately the selection of 6 Sprout champions and 1 senior champion. Oh, my God, that is scary. Okay, crime rate in this town, what we are obviously interested in here. Property crime, it's low. It's rural Iowa. There's a lot of room, not much going on. It's about half the national average, maybe a little under that. And then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and obviously assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is about 1/3 under the national average as well.
I'm not curious.
They're not real. People are very mild in these parts, Jimmy.
Very respectful to each other.
They're mild. They're Midwestern. Whereas if there's something going on, they're not going to go, "Hey, asshole, what are you doing?" They're more to just look at it and go, boy," and then go home and tell their wife, "I saw this one down there, and boy, I'll tell you something. He was, more likely to do that than yell at each other from across the room."
And it's just,
which I find weird.
I feel like when you have that little, they're not really getting anybody jacked up to do anything. So they're just even keel always. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got a pumpkin decorating contest. You're wandering through Frida's house. There's nothing crazy happening.
It's a non-demonstrative kind of place.
Yeah,
like, it's just
very chill.
I don't know what to do in places like that. I'm used to. Yeah. Everywhere I grew up is if someone has any problem with anything, that's what you hear from across the room. It's very different.
And the average age is 51. So
yeah, it's an older, quieter crowd. They're farmers. Yeah. So let's talk about a murder here that happened in this little weird place here of Clarence. This murder, let us go back in the time machine, Jimmy.
No, boy.
Buckle in, because as last time we got bounced around, you hit your head. It was a difficult tonight.
Now I got alopecia.
See what happens? So let's talk about this murder. 84 we're going back to.
Yeah.
I got to go back to there. 1984. And let's talk about a couple of people just trying to get by in this world. Just trying to get through. One is John Frank Roth. He is 35 years old. Okay. And he's an unemployed truck driver.
Oh, man.
At this point. So rough going. So don't picture Kevin Costner, by the way. You're picturing, I said Iowa, so you're all like Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. He's standing on the porch with the breeze in his hair and a plaid shirt, listening for his dad's whisper, Like, no, this guy is 5'9", 289 pounds.
That's a big fella.
That is and I'll post this picture on social media. He is, everything on him is round. Like, he's got this round head, and he's just this little round, he looks like he's like screw-on baby parts.
Yeah.
He looks like he's like a giant baby, is what he looks like. It's the best way to describe him, like a giant 1-year-old. He's 35 years old, like I said, unemployed truck driver. It's the 84. I don't know if he got in during like the big convoy boom in the late 70s there, because people were like leaving their jobs to be truckers in the late 70s, because there was like TV shows about truckers and movies and songs, and that shit looked glamorous. And then they were like, "Oh no, this is a hard job. Holy shit!
Oh my God, I have to bathe in a Conoco? What?
This is really hard. I didn't think I was going to have to take a shower at the gas station. and then sleep in my truck and be okay with that. That's a hard job.
It's not easy, man.
Not to mention the actual job itself is impossible. You're this giant truck and you're trying to wield it around, and it's that, like I've said before, brain surgeons aside, I respect you, whatever, but back a fucking 18-wheeler up to a loading dock perfectly, and that's, to me, that's a magic trick. That is amazing.
Dragging 100 feet of steel down the road is nuts.
Incredible. It's incredible. So
at 90 miles an hour, and then you got to try to stop that fucking thing.
It's insane. All that weight, it's wild. So he, I don't know if he was trying to become his truck and gain some extra weight, but I don't know why he's not employed now, but he's unemployed. His mother-in-law, as we'll talk about, his mother said that he's been unemployed for a long time. So
it's been a minute.
It's been going on for a while. They live a block from his wife's house. His wife's name is Sharon Roth. They live right down the street from Sharon's house over here. Sharon and John live right down the street from Sharon's mother's house.
Okay.
Now, Sharon and John, by the way, have had a rocky relationship, let's say. Mm-hmm. They were married in 1971. They have children, as we'll talk about here, and they both have other children too. There's a lot of kids around and in and out.
13-year marriage, and there's just kids everywhere.
There's kids everywhere from her previous, from his previous. We'll give you some history here, but they've been fighting the last few years, John and Sharon, though. Okay. They've been like kind of fighting on and off, and she has thought about leaving him but doesn't want to because of the kids, and then he said that he's thought about leaving her, and it's just been kind of a deteriorating relationship. In 1983, this is very deteriorating, Sharon fired a 12-gauge shotgun at a truck that he was driving with his mother in it.
Oh, my God.
So, she fired a shotgun at the truck while, like I said, he's driving it with his mother in the car. So that's dangerous. Yeah, I would hope so. If not, I'm really worried about what's going on here.
That's an angry lady.
Bye, honey. See you later. Boom. Drive safe. Pow. I'd hope she was pissed off. So
put your seatbelt on.
Yeah, and there was evidence of this from witnesses, from later on police and everything else. So this is a definite thing that happened. And then they would practice shooting on the farm that John's mother owned in Sioux City. So they would shoot out there all the time. Yeah, so they both are knowledgeable with guns, as we'll find out. And hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. you're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So they have a son named John Jr., who was 13 at the time. They had him right after they got together. And John Jr. says as well in 1984 that his mother, sometimes violent, she's been committed more than once to a mental institution in the last few years as well.
The lady that shoots at a man in his truck is not stable.
Well, I mean, one thing to shoot at him, but his mom's in the car. Like, what are you doing? That seems a little much. So, also, there was an incident where this was several years earlier, and this was the same truck that she will later on shoot at in 1983. But in the late 70s, she repeatedly rammed her car into his truck, in which John and John Jr. were in.
God. Jesus.
So her son, who was, maybe 8, 9 years old at the time, was in the car. She repeatedly rammed the truck with her car. So that's a little bit scary, I would say.
This relationship is a party.
It's something. It sounds like I don't know if you've ever seen Cocaine Cowboys, but remember the documentary where they're talking about the one guy, Christ, he wrote the book about it too. He's a drug dealer guy who's talking about him and his wife used to get in these fights, and then they would get mad at each other, and they on their property in Miami, they drive their Porsches into each other and do bumper cars, and they were like, oh yeah, and then afterwards we do a bunch of coke and laugh, and then we go buy new Porsches, and we're like, just destroy a couple $100,000 worth of cars, push them off in the dirt, and then go get new cars. But that's not what's going on here, and it's not. This is terrible on both sides. We don't know what's happening, but this is not. You can't be doing this. This is violent and dangerous, and you're endangering children and the elderly at this point that I've found. Right. So kind of scary. But we'll find out, too. That she has reason to be mad at him. This isn't the way to take your anger out.
Right.
He's a scumbag, John. Don't get me wrong. He's no angel here.
Yeah.
But you can't shoot a 12 gauge at him and his mom. I don't care what he's doing. That's not not okay.
Right. If he had it all together, the first time she licks shots at the fucking car, he's probably out the door. But he's probably a little unstable also. Perhaps he digs that shit.
Maybe that's what he's into.
Yeah.
You can't, I don't know if anybody's into gunplay, though. That's a little much, I think.
Who knows?
Or ramming your car into people while your son's in it. If you're
She's showing how much she loves me.
If you're into getting your car run into while your son's in it, then you're worse than the person who's doing it. Or just as bad at that point. That's
called a passionate woman.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not worried about my son at all because my dick's hard because she's running into the side of my car is a weird position to have. I hope that's not what's going on here. Yeah. So they have not slept in the same bedroom for a while as 1984 comes on. They've been sleeping in separate bedrooms and, they're staying together for the kids. It's that marriage.
Yeah.
Which obviously it's doing a bang-up job of making the kids' lives wonderful, I'm sure.
Certainly.
So obviously, this is not a good idea. So let's talk a little bit about Sharon and give some of her history here. To do this, we have to go back to 1965, okay? She was Sharon Hildebrandt at that point.
Yeah.
Sharon Roth was Sharon Hildebrandt. In January of 65, she was Sharon Hildebrandt. She lived in Clinton, Iowa. She was 20 years old, divorced, and 6 months pregnant.
Oh, boy.
So having some problems in January of 65. And she has some issues here when she's involved with this shooting of a man named Walter Adams, who was 39, who'd been shot dead with a .22 caliber gun and found in an alley near the back of the Greyhound bus depot in Davenport, Iowa on Halloween night.
That's a terrible way to die.
All of those things put together. Gunshot, alley, fucking Greyhound bus depot, Davenport, Halloween night. All of those are gross. It's all gross. So this was in 1964 that happened, Halloween night 64. Okay. And by 3 months later, we'll talk about what's going on with her. That's when she's already pregnant at this point, but barely
3
pregnant.
months. Yeah.
She might not even know at this point. So Adams was found in a dying condition in an alley out there, like we said. The autopsy indicated he'd been shot through the heart with a .22 caliber. His truck was parked nearby, and when they found him, and his brother, who was a fireman, was called to the scene, not knowing it was his brother. He just got called in on a medical thing and found his brother laying there. A search of his body and the truck was made, but they never found the keys to the truck. So they didn't know what happened.
Wow.
Truck's there, no keys. So that'll come up a little bit later here. What it was Sharon had been employed. Her husband, I guess, had been employed by Walter Adams here during this time in 1964, and they had been living in Clinton, Iowa. And her husband, their landlady, Betty Ann Collier, said that they lived there. That she lived. This wasn't her husband. This was her boyfriend. Now her husband. She was divorced. Okay, so the guy who just knocked her up now. It's very confusing with Sharon. So they lived together. She went by Sharon Miller at that point, even though that wasn't her name.
That's not even her name. Yeah.
But I don't know. In the 60s, you had to. A lot of places wouldn't rent to you if you weren't married.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, in the 60s in Iowa, you can't be like, we're just shacking up. It's a good time. Let us know if the fuck machine gets too loud on the vibrations on the floor. We'll turn it down to a lower setting.
Like the two people have to be married. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't be. I get it.
Just shacking up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it's Mrs. Betty Ann Collier. She's not renting to some swinging kids.
No.
You're not one of those beatniks, are you? That's what she's saying in 65.
I don't want to smell any jazz cigarettes or sex in the air.
Oh, I can smell the sex in the air. I can smell it. It's just, oh boy, I remember that smell from the jazz clubs back in my youth.
Out of wedlock sex, it smells different.
It smells happy. It's just got a. It's like sex, but also with cherries in it. Just like a happy.
Yes. So it smells clean, not like that musky marriage sex.
It's wafting. So, all I want's the musk in my house.
I want that humid married sex.
There we go. That way I can bang my cane on the ceiling and say, open a window up there, you disgusting, you bastard pigs.
You bunch of slobs.
So this Betty Ann Collier said that Sharon was, quote, supposedly his wife. So,
okay.
Obviously. And anyway, Walter Adams would pay their rent on the apartment because they worked for him. So, her boyfriend / pretend husband worked for him.
Yeah.
That's why I thought that was her husband, because I knew of the marriage. I'm very confused. So on October 30th, Miller, who's her boyfriend / husband, and Sharon left the apartment in Clinton. They spent the night in a motel, and the next morning went by bus to Davenport, arriving in the afternoon. Later the same afternoon, Sharon, in company with Miller, purchased a cheap .22 caliber pistol and some bullets at a pawn shop in Davenport, using his driver's license for the identification. So They know that they bought this. The address of the apartment was given at the time, even though they had already left it, and all of that. So the Walter Adams, the guy who was found behind the bus station, was with an employee that night, a guy named Gene Dines, at his own home in Davenport at about 9 p.m. His sister took a phone call for him, and a woman had called, and, Walter Adams came to the phone. He talked on the phone for a few minutes with this woman who had called, and after the phone call, they said he seemed normal. He stopped to say something to his father, and then after that, he seemed somewhat nervous. They said he spoke to his sister, made another phone call, and then left the house. Okay? And none of their family saw him until the brother saw him dying in an alley behind the bus station later on.
Jesus.
That's the last time anybody saw him. So the police, the FBI actually helped with some technical shit here. So they had the FBI involved in the investigation. They found on Walter Adams a bruise on his right arm just above the elbow, which the doctor attributed to a bite. So he was bitten.
On the arm?
Just above the elbow, causing a pretty good bruise. Now, the bullet recovered from his body had sufficient markings to identify it as being shot by a cheap foreign-made revolver. So that's what they didn't know which one, but one of those. So one of the guys here, an expert from the FBI, stated the bullet could have been fired from any one of 500,000 guns now in the United States.
That'll help.
That'll break it down for you. How's that? What do you say there? The area around the bullet hole in the clothing was microscopically examined and chemically tested for the presence of gunpowder residue, obviously, to see how close the gun was. None was found, so it's got to be from a distance. Now, on November 3rd, 3 days after this guy was murdered, Miller, her husband/boyfriend there, was arrested in Louisville, Kentucky, while driving Walter Adams' 1953 Ford pickup truck.
Idiot.
Yeah, they went back and stole it after they picked his body up off the ground. At some point, they went back and were like, okay, coast is clear. Let's go steal this guy's truck. They'll never know.
Jesus.
That is dumb. That's just dumb. I'm sorry. Dismount, people. This is worse than the guy with the tractor. This is terrible. They went back after it had been seen at the fucking scene. They didn't steal it after they killed him. They were like, leave it here. Wait. Ashpet. Let's wait. Like, what the fuck, man? That's fucking weird. So, they've been stolen, reported stolen, so it's been found very easily. And then a few days later, they end up finding Sharon in Louisville a little while after that. So, Miller, her boyfriend/husband, told the detective that he and Sharon came to Davenport from Clinton on a bus. They got there at 2:00 in the afternoon on Halloween. Walked around, did some shopping, ate at a local restaurant, and went to a show.
Oh,
that's what a romantic dinner.
What a day. Yeah.
Sounds like a romantic comedy from the late 90s, doesn't it? Julia Roberts and, I don't know, one of those fucking
this is
guys.
crazy.
Oh, they're just hanging out. After the show, they went to the Halloween parade. That's wonderful.
Parade,
People throwing candy at you. After the parade, they went to a tavern where he had a couple of beers, but Sharon didn't drink at all. He said that at no time during the day did Sharon use the telephone in his presence, so never called that guy, Walter Adams. That female call, it couldn't have been her. So after leaving the tavern, they walked down the street and made their way to another tavern, which was about to close. It was 11:45 at the time. Bars close at midnight in Iowa?
Yeah,
Jesus.
There's a lot of towns that are like that too. It's like,
good God,
like Jerome in Arizona. The bars close at like 10 o'clock.
Really?
Some of them 8.
You're supposed to go home and do mushrooms then, though.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Jerome.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the witching hour.
They ring a big bell. It's the mushroom hour. Y'all go out there and do mushrooms, and then we'll bring back ghost stories the next day. All right, then.
Homemade LSD.
That's the only way we can make a living up here, people. So get some ghost stories. Let's do it.
Pretend you saw some shit.
Nope, there's already people selling ice cream. There's not. Sorry, that ain't gonna work. This is all you can do. So, it's closing. They went to a bus depot, they said, to see about buying tickets to Kentucky, which was where Miller was from. And he said as he came out of the tavern, he saw Walter Adams' truck, which was parked parallel to the alley alongside the central fire station. And he left Sharon at the bus depot, went to see a person named Gamble. That's his name, Gamble, and couldn't find him, so he returned to Sharon at the bus station. Okay. He said he went out and got the truck. He said the keys were in the truck at the time, and there was a man coming down the alley carrying a bag. So he said he picked up Sharon, they rode around a while, and finally decided to go to Kentucky. He said he tried to talk Sharon out of it because of her condition, because she's 3 months pregnant. But she said she would go anyway, or her condition. She's just pregnant. But she said if he didn't take her, I'll follow on my own. So he said, well, okay. So
doing that, not in her condition.
That's all it is. Not in your condition. So then he has another story where he said they did basically the same thing, but they said they went up to a room at the Columbia Hotel and stayed a while. And then later on, they came to the Griddle restaurant. And while at this restaurant, now he says Sharon borrowed a dime from him and made a phone call. Okay. And he overheard Sharon say, "Is Walt there?" That's very different from she never made a phone call at all to...
She borrowed money from me to do it.
Now she borrowed money and then in your presence went to go find Walt. So a little different. He said he went out in the street to talk to her, and she said, quote, "I'm sorry, we have to go down. I've got to meet Walt in front of the ABC pool hall, but I told you, I told Walt you weren't going to be around." So, I don't know. Then he walked to the ABC pool hall with Sharon and continued down the street alone. He said while he was walking around, he saw Adams' truck go by, and he didn't know whether Walt Adams was driving the truck or not. Could have been Sharon, who knows. He then said he went into John and Joe's Tavern where he had a whiskey and 7-Up.
Not a bad choice.
It's bubbly. When he came out, he saw the truck parked at the bus depot. He said he went to another tavern, had a couple beers, and then at that time thought Sharon was gone too long, so he went out of the tavern, walked around the bus depot, met her as she was coming back. They went upstairs to their hotel where they hung out for 30 minutes, and he said that Sharon's hair was all messed up and her hand was all red, and he asked her what happened, but she wouldn't tell him.
It's filthy.
Can't tell him.
Can't tell you. It was a dirty thing.
He then said he was told her he was going to go out for a few minutes, walked to the tavern where he had another beer and stayed about 10 minutes till it was 10 minutes to 12, so 11:50. And he said he left the tavern and saw the truck by the bus depot, but now it had been moved. And he said he went back to the room where Sharon gave him the keys. Here's the keys to a truck. He said, "Why didn't you bring the truck? Why didn't he bring the truck? Why didn't he bring his car?" And Sharon said, well, his 2 cars are laid up, and that's the reason he brought his truck. He said he got the keys from Sharon, went out, and got the truck after checking out. And he said when he walked over to the truck to get in it, a man with a paper sack was there, and he was looking at him at the time. Just a mysterious man with a paper sack staring at him.
It's called a homeless man.
He said, was it tied to the end of a stick by any chance?
Or was it shaped like a bottle?
Well, yeah, what was in that? Did he take a sip from his paper bag? So he picked up Sharon. They rode around for a while, finally decided to go to Louisville. And he said again, tried to talk her out of it because her condition and all. But, you know, he said that over the whole course of this thing, they both ended up being Sharon and Dan Miller, her husband/boyfriend, were convicted of second-degree murder in the end. Here is what happened. Wow. So they get convicted of second-degree murder. And after she's convicted, she's a party in jail, too. After she's convicted, she went on a hunger strike in the Scott County Jail.
Yeah.
And was hospitalized for a time after that.
Oh, Jesus. She took it serious.
Yeah, she did it. She did it for real. So she is sentenced to, you, ma'am, may fuck off, a 25-year prison sentence for that particular murder. You might be wondering, how has she been married for 14 years and have a 13-year-old in 1984 if she got sentenced to 25 years in 1965? That math doesn't add up, right?
Sure doesn't.
That sounds pretty crazy. Well, let's go over the math here. She's sentenced to 25 years at the Iowa's Women's Reformatory in Rockwell City, but she ends up being transferred to University Hospitals in Iowa City to give birth to a son in May of 65. She has a son, and so she ends up being returned to the Rockwell City facility, but then she escapes from prison.
What?
She escapes from prison. She's out, man. She gets out for 10 days.
No kidding.
10 fucking days, which is wild. In 1968, she was attending classes on a state work release program. This is 3 years after being convicted of murder. Wow, okay. So then she is released on parole in August of 69.
What?
They paroled her a year after she tried to escape, 3 years after being convicted of murder. Or did escape for 10 days. She did
it.
That is wild, man.
Yeah.
That is like very fucking lenient. That's wow. Well, you know what? She really does want to be out. You could tell. You could tell from the fact that she escaped that she really wants to be out.
I do say oftentimes that it's a man's world, except for in prison. That is a woman's world.
Yeah. That's just, mathematically they do the math, and you can look it up. There's crimes where if you do this crime, you can expect this average time as a man and this average time as well, and that's. I don't know. I would give a woman less time probably as a juror. It's just me. You know what I mean? I would.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends, though.
Yeah.
In this situation, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. You look at a woman, you're like, oh, that's my mother and stuff like that. And then the guy's like, oh, it's just my dad. He's fine. You know, like.
And most of the time, the murders that women commit, they're rarely like. Yeah, they're rarely as vicious.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just as, but
yeah.
most of the times it's to get out of a situation where they're being abused or whatever. You know what I mean?
A lot of times it's for profit too, and a lot of times it's with a guy. You know what I mean? Like
they're put in the situation by a dude that's way worse.
I'm not just anecdotally. I look at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of murders. You know, it's like you got to look at 50 to find one. So it's the way, maybe more. So. What I see a lot of when I'm looking, because sometimes it'll be like, oh, we've had so many male murders, let's have a woman murder. We need to give some equal time here. And so I'll be looking for stuff, and it seems like half the female murderers, just anecdotally, are killing their children. It's like killed their baby postpartum or whatever the fuck. That's half of the women murderers. And then probably another third of them on top of that are the, or another quarter maybe, are like the... with a guy.
Yeah.
They went and robbed a place and then kidnapped a guy and, all that kind of shit. And then the other was just like killed their husband for insurance or some shit like that. But there's not the same. A man will kill because they really want to stab you and fuck the hole. Like they'll kill you just for that. Whereas you don't get that kind of murder from women very often is what I'm getting at. It's always like for a need or for a desire or for an escape or whatever the fuck it is.
It's very rare that a woman will murder somebody and then try to fuck the corpse.
Yeah. Women generally murder less just because their dick's hard, whereas a guy will murder just for that fucking reason. So that's all alone. So that's all we're saying. So anyway, she is released from parole in September 1970.
My God.
Not even on parole anymore, man.
Just free.
She was sentenced 5 years before that to 25 years in prison, and she is a free woman, not even on parole 5 years later.
5 years later.
That is remarkable. That's fucking remarkable.
The grass has barely grown on the grave.
Wow, that's really that's remarkable, man. So now at this point, she had the young son that was born, and she had a daughter who was an infant when she went into jail. She already had a daughter named Tina, and we'll talk about her. Her name is Martine, actually. Martienne, I think. It's after her grandmother, and but they call her Tina. So she's got a daughter and a son at that point, and she ends up meeting and marrying Roth, John Frank Roth, the guy we told you about, the unemployed trucker, in 1971. They have 4 children together.
Wow.
So, yeah, they pump out the kids, too. So, that said, let's head up to 1984, knowing the players here. We have
fast forward,
unemployed trucker and convicted of murder, kind of a tough younger life here.
9 years ago.
Yeah, this is an odd fucking grouping here. So on December 26th, 1984, this was right after the holiday, obviously. Christmas is the day before. And Tina Harper, Tina Marie Harper is her name, Marie Harper, she is there, the daughter that from the previous relationship that was around when she committed the murder back in 65. So she had been raised by Sharon's mother, who's also named Martine. She'd been legally adopted by her and everything, because when Sharon was in prison, she took custody of her. Now her dad is a trucker, another truck driver. So she has a type that Sharon was married to, pre 20 years old. His name was Larry Hildebrand. And so Tina, first, when she moved to Davenport in 1984, she lived with her father and her father's wife until she's 21 at this point, by the way, Tina. She moved in with them until she could find a job and try to, find a job. And she's trying to make a life in this area, essentially. Yeah. So she went to school in Davenport when she was little up until 1975 when her family moved to Clarence. Total, she has 5 brothers and 6 sisters.
My God.
Yeah, from, mother's family, because her mother had 4 kids with Frank. She had another kid after that, and then her father has a bunch of kids. So a lot of kids running around here. Now, at 16, she's already dropped out of school, Tina. Which, you know what, when you hear about her mother and all that, you go, wow, this is not a...
She made it to 16, huh?
She made it to 16.
Pretty
and
impressive.
She gets married to a guy named Lloyd Whistler.
Yeah?
Yeah, gets married to Lloyd Whistler. They have a child at 16. She's married with a kid at 16. No murder rap, though, thankfully, so she's not taking after her mom that much. But she, like I said, married, had a child. This child, by the way, will end up very shortly being adopted by the grandmother who raised her.
Oh, God.
That's how that goes.
That poor grandma's work is never done.
It's really hard, man. So then she has another child, Tina, as well. This one adopted by her mother, Sharon, the murderess from earlier. So, holy shit! And then 2 months before this Christmas in 1984, so in October 1984, Tina has another child.
Tina.
Yeah, so she has 3 very young children, and she's going to visit the family for Christmas, is how it goes here. Her sons are, she has 3 sons, Lloyd Whistler Jr., Jason Harper, and Robert Harper. So those are her kids. The other 2 are named after her family, her grandmother's family name. So after working, she drops out of high school, like we said, and she's having kids, and she's married and gets divorced. She begins working full-time as a nurse's aide at the Clarence nursing home.
Okay.
You know, got to make a living, you know, so she's doing something nice.
Job, yeah.
No, very difficult, actually. And she receives a high school degree later on from Kirkwood College. So she ends up taking night classes and gets her diploma that way. She had been, like we said, living in Davenport at this point. Currently, in 1984, she'd been working part-time at a Hardee's fast food restaurant. So,
good Lord.
Part-time at the Hardee's is not...
Doing all she can.
Doing what she can. She used to work in the nursing home for a long time, and then she got pregnant again, and now she's going to work at Hardee's for a while. At the nursing home, her coworkers said that they loved her. She's very nice and kind, but she's also a very troubled young woman, they all said. She could tell she had... Obviously, yeah. One said, quote, she was very pleasant and very willing to help. She wanted to make friends and didn't have many friends at the nursing home.
Oh.
Gee, it's odd for a 20-year-old not to have a lot of friends at the nursing home. It's, you know. She would have done anything for you, but she was confused. She got in with the wrong crowd. She seemed like she's always lonely, too. So that was her impressions of her while she worked there. So, but 2 years, about 1982, she had her own apartment in Clarence, and she's, you know, raising her 2 kids before the third one was born. One worker said she was a very loving, giving person when she knew her, and said she was an outgoing person. She liked to talk to people, but it always seemed like she was reaching for something. And she'd give you the shirt off her back if she thought you needed it. That's how I can remember her always from working there. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Very kind girl. So this year, 1984, her grandma, who is her namesake here, Mrs. Harper, we'll just call her, she lives in Bennett and had driven to the Quad Cities and brought Tina home for the holidays.
Okay.
So there you go. She's there for the holiday. She's there Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and she disappears on the 26th at night. Okay, she disappears about 8:30. She goes out with John Roth. They go out to get cigarettes and never come back. At least Tina doesn't ever come back. So they said they left and didn't know what was going on. She says, this is a quote, to my knowledge, everything was fine. And on Christmas Day, the Roths had their own activities while she celebrated at home with Tina and Tina's brother, Chris. So they did their thing. She went to her grandmother's, Tina did, on Christmas Day. They're trying to piece together the timeline. I guess John Jr. was playing Monopoly, he says, with his sister, Tina. And they were playing the game, and about 7:30, 8 o'clock, Tina got up from the table and said she had to go get some cigarettes. So that's how that goes. And I guess Tina walked into the kitchen, and John was there, John Roth, and Tina whispered something in Roth's ear, and then they walked out the back door together. And then she was never seen that night again. Yeah, very strange. So later that night, Tina's mother, Sharon, obviously. They'll go look for her and all that sort of thing. It's really weird. They said they'll go look for her that night. Because what ends up happening, he leaves with her, obviously. John leaves with Tina. They take off to buy cigarettes. He comes back alone.
All by himself.
Where the fuck's Tina, right?
Yeah.
So they end up getting in the car, Sharon and John, drop the kids off down with the grandmother down the street, and they go fucking out to look for Tina.
Yeah.
That's how they go. So they didn't find Tina, so they return to the mother's house, the grandmother's house, and Tina ends up staying there, and he goes home. John goes home, and she said that he checked back in at her mother's house about 3-4 times to see if she'd heard from Tina yet, and that was about that night. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. Yeah. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
So anyway, he got back from going out with Sharon to look for Tina about 10:45 p.m. John does. Mm-hmm. He gets home. When he gets home, he goes into John Jr.'s room where he picks up a .22 caliber rifle that he had just given John Jr. the day before for Christmas. Okay. Uh-huh. He picks up the rifle and starts to load it and tells John Jr., I'm going back out to look for Tina, and then I'm going hunting also. In the middle of the freezing Iowa night. Pitch black, cold, post-Christmas night. That's when you want to...
I'm going to look for Tina. If I can't find her, I'm going to get me a deer.
Either one. Yeah. I'm going to get either a 21-year-old or a deer. Or try to get me a 21-year-old or a 21-pointer. We're going to get some. So John Jr. said he saw the father load .22 caliber rifle bullets in. He said more than one is all he knew. And he said he took it from the bedroom, the rifle, about 10:30. And the rifle, he said that was my Christmas present. Now, later on that night, a car similar to in color and design to Roth's car was seen on a gravel road out, away from town, about 2 miles away from town. The next day, because John Jr. went to sleep, his dad was gone. The next day, his dad tells him, "Hey, John Jr., by the way, don't say anything to about the gun to anybody, quote, because it could get me in a lot of trouble."
What?
So John Jr. says also, the other thing that's weird is his dad asked him to, when he got the gun that night, he asked him to retrieve several items from the family's garage that night, and then later on, hide them in the house. This is what he tells him the next day. He's like, "Listen, you need to go in the garage, get a bunch of shit and hide it." These items are wires, some wires that were formed to shape like handcuffs.
Yeah.
That's nice. A rope, the fat end of a baseball bat, like a sawed-off baseball bat with just the fat end, like a Union strikebreaker in the 30s would fucking carry up their sleeve, and 2 blankets as well. So,
murder accoutrement.
Murder stuff, murdery stuff. If you'd find that anywhere, if you found on the side of the road, you open up a paper bag. It's got a blanket, wire shaped like handcuffs, a rope, and the fat end of a baseball bat. You go, "Oh, God," you put that and you throw it to the side.
I would not touch that again.
No.
Matter of fact, I would take my sleeve and wipe anywhere that I did touch.
Let's go ahead and burn this paper bag. Because I don't know what DNA can be transferred on, but
yeah,
this here is a murder kit. I've seen this before. So that's an interesting night. John Jr. has the weirdest view because he gets to see one minute he's playing Monopoly with his sister, which is very nice. Right. And she goes to get cigarettes, whispering in her dad's ear, which is weird. He comes back without her. Mom and dad go out looking for Tina. Dad comes back alone without mom now, too. So you're sitting in the house, and whenever dad leaves with someone, he comes back and alone. And then he gets a rifle.
Anywhere with dad.
Yeah. And then he gets a rifle.
Yeah.
And then he goes out, and then the next day he says, "By the way, don't tell anybody about that rifle. And do me a favor, go in the garage, get these murdery items that I'm going to describe to you, and hide them in your room."
Hide them amongst the normal things in the house.
Jesus Christ. Want to go out for ice cream? Like, what a weird...
Not really.
I don't think I do either there. So now Sharon said she didn't even know that Tina and John left together that day. She was in the other room. She said that the last she heard, John said he was going upstairs to take a bath. She heard he was going up to take a bath, and
he's a bath guy.
He's a bath guy. Yeah, I mean, he must displace quite a bit of water when he gets in there.
Oh, he only fills it up a quarter of the way,
about 4 inches, and then he's like, "Perfect," and it just goes right up to the side. He is a fucking meatball.
Yeah,
bro, he's a meatball, man. It's. The way he's shaped is he's not shaped like a normal fat guy. It's really weird, man. He's a very strange looking little man.
Do they show him without a shirt on?
I wish they did. Let's see him from multiple poses. Give me like the double guns.
Yeah.
Give me like the one of those, like off into looking up into the sky.
There is like the big guy that carries it correctly, you know what I mean? That doesn't have like the saggy titties. Like my stepfather was just a saggy oaf, just a fat, gross man. But there are also the guys that are big that just carry it right. They're just a chubby dude, but they look good.
Just genetically, they're just big people. But no,
like that.
5'9", nearly 3 bills. It's hard to
probably not.
You just can't find a place to put that where it's not going to be
uncomfortable and unsightly.
That's a lot. Yeah, it's tough when you're maybe that's why he's not trucking now. He can't stuff himself into a cab. I'm not sure.
It's tough to get up and down.
Yeah. So Sharon said, he was going upstairs to take a bath, and she said that she was in another room of the house feeding Tina's infant son and watching TV with her kids and Tina's kids as well. Uh-huh. So she has young kids. Tina has young kids, and she had like 5-6 kids in this room feeding an infant. As far as she knows, Tina's playing Monopoly with John, and or with John Jr., and then John is taking a bath. So it's a nice night in the holidays here. So anyway, the next morning, Tina still hasn't turned up yet. But a guy named Dwayne Dirks, he's a farmer from outside Clarence there. He ends up calling the cops that morning and saying that he found something that they need to see. And when they show up, they find on the side of a road about 2 miles, mile and a half to 2 miles outside of Clarence, they find Tina Harper laying off the side of the road. And she is fully clothed and dead. She has been shot 7 times.
Oh, that's too many.
3 times in the chest, 3 times in the head, and once at the base of the skull.
Oh, wow.
Like an execution style shot here. Later on they'll decide that the death occurred sometime between 8:30 p.m. and midnight, somewhere in there. She died as a result of close range rifle fire blasts. 3 to the forehead, 1 to the base of the skull, 3 to the chest. That is fucking brutal, man.
It's a lot.
That is goddamn brutal. So this is like a big deal because it's like still the holidays, man. So like people in this town are not expecting murder news at this point. They're trying to smell cinnamon rolls baking. This is crazy. So people freak out in this town. No one more than Tina Harper's grandma, her Mrs. Harper here, the namesake who raised her. She says something terrible, but it's all terrible, but she's talking. She says it's inconceivable that anyone can do something like that to her. She said that I'm afraid. They ask her who she thinks did it, and she said, I'm afraid I'm going to say things I wish I hadn't. Oh. That's Midwestern right there. Yeah. That's Midwestern.
Ill of them. Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm going to say something I'll regret later, and then they actually don't say anything. Most people would say that, then go on to accuse someone of murder.
Right.
So she's talking about she was going to drive her home back to where she lived. She said, I was going to take her back the day she didn't come back. So Tina's dad, this poor bastard, like I said, Larry is a 46-year-old truck driver who doesn't find out until he's sitting at a Chicago truck stop on the road and reads it in the newspaper.
Oh, no.
That's how he found out his daughter was murdered.
That's got to be the worst.
At a Chicago truck stop, yeah, I would say. And then he went in the back and arm wrestled Sylvester Stallone for the title and won. That's terrible. This poor bastard.
I guess it's the media's responsibility is to notify next of kin, not every kin, but still.
You got to
give that a day.
You got to put the telephone chain through your own family. You know what I mean? Like you have to. I would think that they would. Sharon's first call should be Larry.
Dad.
Yeah, I would hope. You know what I mean? But no one calls Larry. I don't know if it's just slipped through the cracks or what, but no one tells him. And he finds out. Plus, maybe he was on the road and they couldn't get a hold of him.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the other. There's no cell phones in 1984.
No, but there are CB radios, and
you could call dispatch.
Can get a hold of that guy.
You can call dispatch and say, "Hey, emergency! You got to call your ex-wife." And that's true. They could have got a hold of him.
Or have him call you and give him this information. You know what I mean? If I'm not going to give it to him, at least somebody let the poor bastard know before he reads the fucking Chicago Tribune.
That's fucking horrible. He stood up, became so angry that he broke the truck stop mirror, the big fucking mirror behind the counter. He threw something at it and freaked out.
Those are really strong usually.
Absolutely, and had to be restrained by 2 other truckers. They had to hold him down because he started like freaking out, and he was screaming, "That's my daughter! That's my daughter!" Pointing at the fucking paper, going, "Look, I'm fucking obviously
I'm justified. Leave me alone."
Yeah. His mom, Tina's other grandma, said, "Quote: He's a very emotional person. He loves kids." Whether he loves kids or not, his daughter's dead. He loved that kid. I don't care how he feels about any other kid.
Child a little more than most of them.
Yeah. He said that, and then he had to tell his mother because nobody told her either. So he told grandma about this and asked how he was taking the news. Grandma said, quote, "Let's put it this way. I wouldn't want to be within arm's reach of him right now because he's a little uptight." You think?
Yeah.
I can't see how. Then she says this. I get what she's saying, but my God, Jesus Christ, this is
the phrasing already uptight.
This lady is, the way her language is odd here. Yeah, let's put it this way. I wouldn't want to be within arm's reach of him because he's uptight. Then she says this, and I quote, I can't see how a person can waste a life as young as hers. 1 bullet maybe, but not 5 or 6. What the fuck does that mean, Grandma? What?
I guess it's the same as me saying that's too many, but Jesus, lady.
I get wanting to kill her, but I mean, that's a little much, right? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, 1 bullet maybe, but I mean, not 5 or 6. What? Wow. That's, again, technically correct, but why would you phrase it like that?
Also, he's upset, not uptight.
Yeah, he's upset, not uptight. He's a little uptight, and she's like rolling her eyes like,
this fucking guy never heard of murder before.
Never had a daughter slaughtered in the street and stuck on the side of a gravel road before. What the fuck?
Real uptight about it.
I mean, Jesus, I could see
up,
1
Junior.
bullet, but 5, 6, I mean, I get where he's coming from. And then she said that Tina was, quote, a beautiful girl with dark black hair. Those are her. Okay. She's beautiful. I could see shooting 1 bullet, but maybe not 5 or 6. That's her. And my son is uptight. That's her general. That's what she gives to the paper here.
She's raising that woman's daughter too, or son, child.
No, that's the other one. That's
don't
the other
both
one.
of them have one?
No, they don't. No, Sharon has one of Tina's kids, and Mrs. Harper, Sharon's mother, has the other one.
Oh, this isn't Mrs. Harper.
This is Hildebrandt's mom.
Yeah,
this is the trucker's mom.
Got it.
That's how she knows he's uptight, because she's his mom. So otherwise, she'd be like, I don't know. I haven't talked to that motherfucker in years. I have no idea how he's feeling about it. My ex-son-in-law, I don't know.
He used to be.
He used to be pretty uptight. I'm not going to lie. So now they talk to Adeline Roth. Okay, Adeline Roth is John's mom.
Okay.
A lot of grandparents involved here.
Yeah.
3 different grandmas so far we're putting into the mix.
Average age is 51, James.
That's what I mean. I apologize, everyone, if you're getting confused on the grandmas, but it's Jimmy. Ask any questions. Yeah, you got to be the voice of the audience here. Ask any questions if you're confused with whose grandma is it anyway, type of deal. You know, just say that. Whose grandma is it? Just shout that out.
That's a fun game show.
It's a fun game show. You get to decide. So John Roth's mom starts at this point. They start talking because the cops are talking to everybody in the whole family. And all Adeline can talk about is some disturbing, violent behavior in Sharon Roth's past. I don't know. Sharon, she's pretty violent. She talked about the incident where she had where Sharon shot at them with a shotgun, because that's her that she shot at. She shot at me with a shotgun. And if your wife and mother are shooting at each other, that is bad. Like, you need your wife and your mother to get along to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But not gunplay. That's too much. Like, even if they don't like each other, just pretend at Christmas. But wow, gunplay. Jesus Christ. I thought my mother and ex-wife fought a lot. This is crazy. So both she did that, and Roth's mother said that she was in the truck when obviously that shooting happened. She also told the police officer about the incident that the police officer that was there for the incident said an impact mark on the truck appearing to have been caused by a shotgun. That's what he noted it as in his report, shotgun blast to the side of the truck. And this was the same guy who investigated the report of Sharon Roth ramming the car into the truck near South Sioux City, Nebraska in August 1983. So they were told about that where they lived too. So that's pretty funny. They called up and go, "You got a couple of people over there, and let me tell you what they've been doing over here." Yeah. So she said that that Sharon Roth. Now Sharon Roth tells police, "I've never even shot a gun before."
Oh, Sharon.
When they talk to her about her daughter, and they're like, "Well, would you have any reason to hurt your daughter?" And she's like, "I've never even shot a gun before." Meanwhile, she's been convicted of murder, and which we don't know if she pulled the trigger in that.
Right.
But still, she fired a shotgun at her mother-in-law and fucking husband. Like, and there's a police report knowing about that.
We're very well aware of your gun firing history. You've done it. You've certainly done it.
You've done some toting, so we know about that. She also says that she acknowledges that, yes, she did ram her truck into her car into her husband's truck to stop her husband from taking her children. she said. But then she conceded she does have mental problems also, so that might have contributed to it. So she said it was probably a little bit of both, and then she went in an institution for a while after that. So she said that might have contributed to it. So Adeline Roth, John's mother, said that her son was, quote, afraid to go to sleep at night for fear that Sharon was going to do away with them all. He had told his mother, relayed to her threats from Sharon that Sharon had told him, and then later on, Sharon confirmed it with Adeline, that she was going to turn the gas on at night and everybody was going to die.
What? That was a terrible threat.
That's a threat. She also, Adeline Roth also says that she recalls seeing Sharon Roth beating Tina during the time when she was a teenager before they had moved to Sioux City and all of that. So Sharon Roth denies that she was beating Tina at any point. So there you go. Now, the next day after, this is the day that Tina's body's found here, Sharon said that John's acting weird. He's acting, quote, peculiar and crying all the time. Okay. Which, I mean, the crying would make sense. His stepdaughter was just found murdered on the side of the road. I'd cry.
Everybody deals with grief differently.
Yeah, that's worth a cry, you know? Yeah. She said also while making funeral arrangements for her daughter that she was interrupted by a telephone call from John, and he wanted her to ask her mother for money so that he could travel to Sioux City. And she said the family had no money because they're on welfare and their money's gone this month. So we don't have any money. So that's how that goes. So December 28th, 1984. This is a couple days later. Now the police, this is the day after they find Tina. Right. Now the police are like, hey, we need to look around your house to see if, Tina left any trail of breadcrumbs. Maybe she left behind a phone number of somebody that she was going to go see. Who knows?
Or a note.
Or maybe if there's like murder weapons. We'll check it all. You never know.
Yeah.
So December 28th, 1984, they search the Roth basement, and what they find is a rifle, several boxes of .22 caliber shells, which, by the way, were hidden as well. This is all hidden. This isn't like out in the open. He doesn't have it like up on the wall. This is hidden. The rifle was broken down and in a bag. Okay.
What?
It was broken down, the rifle. Yeah. He took it apart. Taken apart completely.
Jesus.
That's
that
a bad
look
sign.
Suspicious at all.
No, not at all. Later on, and we do confirm that it was a .22 rifle that Tina was killed with, 7 shots from a .22. And now he denies I don't know anything about the murder. I don't know shit about shit. I'm John. I don't know nothing else. That's all I know. He said that, I don't know, talk to Sharon. She might have done something. Her and Tina were always fighting. Who knows, but not me. I don't know shit about it. So while they're talking to him the next day, he says that, this is amazing. He tells the cops that I have to leave town, so I'm not going to be around to answer any questions, because they're like, can we talk to you? And he's like, well, I'm super busy. He said he has to go to Sioux City because my sister and her son just died in a car accident in Nebraska.
Oh, my.
So I got to get over there to my mother her health isn't good, so I have to help, do the arrangements and all that. It's been a bad week, really. Everybody's
sounds like it. Jesus.
Terrible week. Although the problem is the police then called his mother, and his mother went, "No, they're fine. Everybody's alive, and
everybody's okay.
I feel just fine." So this was a lie.
Yeah.
Did he not think the cops were going to check up on that?
Evidently not.
He thought that they were just. He'd slip out the back door and they go, 5 years later, they'd be like, whatever happened to that one fella we was talking to about that? Remember when we found that girl on the side of the road?
Remember a sister died in a car accident? We should call him again.
Whatever happened to him? You threw the case in the garbage? Oh, well, I guess we're moving on. Like, is that what he thought was going to happen? It's murder, dude. They're going
to follow up.
A death investigation, they're going to make phone calls and then check up on some stuff. If you give a story, they'll see if you're lying. That's how it is. So they said there was no accident, there was nothing, anything like that. Then the other thing, while they're talking to him, he hadn't been told that a .22 caliber rifle was the murder weapon. They just told him Tina was found shot on the side of the road. They didn't tell him what the hell the caliber was. It could have been a .357 handgun, could have been a shotgun, could have been anything. So he didn't know anything. But he said he was naming off to the cops, going, well, you should talk to this person and you should talk to that person. These were all people he was naming off that all have 22 rifles that might have done it. And they're all looking at each other. They didn't say shit. They let him talk. He
doesn't realize it. Yeah.
You want some coffee, John? Sure, we'll go get some coffee. And they went outside and they're like, you tell him about the 22? Nope. You tell him about the 22? I didn't tell him shit. Okay. Well then, interesting that he would. No one told him, huh? Wow. He seems to know quite a bit, actually. So he also, so they do the ballistics on the whole thing, and they find that the bullets recovered from her body had been fired from the 22 caliber rifle that they found in the basement of his house.
The dismantled one.
The dismantled one, absolutely. They said that the 22 caliber Marlin rifle had the riflings and grooves and all that shit there, and a Remington manufactured 22 caliber ammunition were all similar and all a match. So there's that. Now, when asked about the guns in the house, when they first got there to search, they asked Roth, do you have any guns in the house? And he said, I own a 12-gauge shotgun, but that's it. That's all I have. And so they ended up finding the rifle and the shotgun all in the same bag. And a 20-gauge shotgun as well, too. So
I don't know anything about anything else other than my own shotgun that I keep with all these other guns. That's what I mean. And they're like, so it's in there with the two other guns. And the cops are like, later on, they go, why would he say that? Because he had to know the next thing was, can we see that gun? Right.
He had to know that was it. We weren't just going to go, well, that's not the one we're looking for. Never mind. Thanks, John. Have a good one. We're looking for a 22.
All right, we're going to move along.
We're moving along. I guess he thought that's what it was. He thinks he's fucking smarter than he is, I think. That's really what I think.
He thinks that just by saying the words and giving the story, they just take that as gospel and they go, okay, well, that's that.
He only has a shotgun and his sister's dead. Just let him take care of stuff, We'll move on to somebody else.
We will not corroborate whether or not that's true.
No, not at all. So they also said that when they're about Tina's body here, they found the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation Laboratory said that they believed that Tina was killed on the road near Clarence where the body was found. So she wasn't transported.
Oh, fuck.
He based the opinion on finding 7 .22 caliber bullet casings near her body. That's a good.
Right there, yeah.
And melted ice under the body, indicating that it was warm when it fell.
When it sat down, yeah.
So yeah, if you dump someone who's been dead for 12 hours on the ground, it's not really going to melt the ice like that.
Right.
So they said the pattern of gunpowder in front of the body as well, they found is like a trail to the rifle, basically, when it falls. So they said that she's discovered on the gravel road, and they're continuing to investigate. When they talk to John Jr., by the way, they find out that, at first, we'll get to John Jr. Hold on. I'm going to hold off on him for a second. Monopoly Kid, yeah, because he's the key to the whole thing, Monopoly Kid, because this kid had quite the evening. So there's a witness here, a woman named Deborah Wagner. She said she saw an automobile that fit the description of Roth's car at about 11:30 at night on the night of Tina's death near the place the body was found. This would be an hour after he stopped home and picked up a rifle from his son and loaded it. So the witness saw him driving a green car, which is the Roth's family car, at the time he left his home at the night in question. This is somebody near his house saw him driving away that direction as well. So, and then, a little while later, that same green car is seen out on the gravel road where Tina was. Okay, so they want to question him formally. They want to take him in and sit him down. The police do. So at this point, by the way, it's been a couple days. He's moved already.
John has?
Yeah, he's already trying to get his shirt. He hasn't moved yet. He's trying to move. He's getting his stuff to leave and move already. Like, he's trying to take off. So they call him in for questioning. He comes in voluntarily. As they're talking to him, he starts becoming very angry as he says that you're becoming accusatory at this point. This is crazy. Now you're starting to make me feel uncomfortable just because I had the disassembled murder weapon in my house. That's just to make me feel a little uncomfortable. So he suggested that, hey, what about Sharon's younger brother, Chris? He owns a .22 caliber rifle, and he said that he lives a couple blocks down the street. He could have done it. What about him? He also said that, the type of, that was when they didn't know the type of gun yet. So it was pretty funny. Under cross-examination, no, that's cross-examination, when they're talking to him. Why did I say cross-examination? Interrogation, not examination. There you go. They talk about how, why would you tell us to go find the shotgun when there's a rifle in there? Either you're dumb or you're trying to tell us something. Which one is it? You know what I mean? Yeah, so obviously he doesn't say he's dumb. He's saying, well, maybe I told you to do that so that way you'd find the real person that did it. So he's trying to say, look at Sharon, basically, is his whole thing. Like, someone in the house could have done it. Wink, wink.
Hint, hint, yeah.
Yeah, hint, hint. He said that at that point, he's like, okay, fine. He said that Sharon told me she killed Tina. Okay, you beat it out of me. Yeah. You beat it out of me, guys. I didn't want to say it, but she told me. She said, I killed Tina is what happened here. I killed Tina. She said, quote, when Sharon gets in these moods, she gets very violent. You never know what she's going to do.
You just got to go along with it.
So she killed her daughter. Yeah. Well, they said, well, why would she do that, man? Why? She's home for 3 days. She's leaving the next day to go back home. She doesn't have to see her till Easter or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, why would she possibly do that? And he says, well, that's a whole other thing.
He's got
let me
the
tell you why.
Okay.
There's a reason why. And it'll make a lot of sense once I tell you, everybody. So sit down and grab yourselves some coffee and light up. Smoke them if you got them, gentlemen. Yeah. He said that she killed her daughter because she, quote, caught us having sex.
Oh.
Me and Tina.
Yikes.
Caught us having sex, and then Sharon killed Tina because of it. So I didn't want to say anything because I felt bad, but that's what happened.
Also,
that's what it is.
That I'm having sex with my stepdaughter.
All of that. So the lab analyst concludes that Roth had sex with Tina sometime before that, actually. So that is true. They had sex, and that they found traces of his semen, on her when places where it would go. And
crevices.
Clothing, a blanket, a bed sheet found at the Roth's home on a bed. So this didn't happen like on the side of the road in the gravel. This happened at the house. This definitely happened. So he admits to that, and they also go in and they try to find, there's analysis of his handwriting, and it indicates that he wrote a message on their own family car, the previous year, which was it was threatening to the Roths, saying that we're going to kill you because Tina's here. So he wrote that, is what they find out. He wrote it on.
He's trying to get her out of the house.
Apparently trying to get someone to feel like Tina shouldn't come to the house, even though he was having sex with her. It's very weird. So the Roths suspected. They went to the cops and said, we suspect two different families we're having disagreements with, obviously, because a family like this is going to have disagreements with neighbors at some point. You just know it. So here is something from a local newspaper. This is a local small town paper. A lot of them, they live for this type of shit because they're going to sell copies now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they make it as just as salacious and as shitty as possible. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is from, where is this? This is from the Quad City Times here. Oh. Okay. This is March 18th, 1985. Who killed Martine Tina Harper? Was it her stepfather, John Roth, as the police contend, or was it her jealous mother, as the defense contends, who had just learned of sexual relations between the young woman and Roth? Or did the butler do it after all? They're on welfare. This is just, stop being corny. Stay tuned, folks, for the next titillating installment of Murder in Cedar County, brought to you by the Midwest's most exciting newspaper, the Quad City Times.
Yeah.
That is fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous here.
Exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. So, based on his interview, oddly enough, they don't buy the fact that Sharon caught them having sex, then killed her own daughter, even though he was the one who went out with her and came home and got a rifle from his son. So, oddly, they're not buying it. And at the end of the interrogation, they go, you know what, John, we're going to go ahead and arrest you. I just got a bad feeling about you, pal. And we're going to put some cuffs on you and then figure it out from there.
I got a bad feeling and a good feeling. The bad feeling is that you murdered somebody. The good feeling I have is that I solved this case.
I think I solved the case. And I feel like if I don't put you in cuffs, you're going to take off somewhere. You're not going to
have another one to solve.
One of the two, probably. You got any other stepdaughters? Yes, you do. Okay, I don't like this. I don't like where this is going. So he's being held at the Cedar County Jail here for a while. This is he's there for a couple months waiting for, whatever. 48 days he's there waiting for court. So he's sitting there. At one point, the assistant jailer, Dale Cook, comes in. He's 65 years old, by the way.
Dale Cook?
Dale Cook, the assistant jailer. He's 65. He comes in to unclog the sink in Roth's cell. His sink's plugged. He comes in to do some light plumbing over here. He's going to snake out his sink real quick. He does this. Now, also present is not only Dale Cook, but Cook's wife, Jean, who's 64, is also a county jailer there.
She works there, too.
It's a nice, this is a couple that like greets you at Walmart, not runs a jail. You know what I'm saying? I just picture this couple like, have you had like bringing in like baked goods in the morning? Yeah. Have you had enough? Okay, these are nice young boys. I'll tell you something. Just a group of, we have a nice group of young men here, right? Yeah, this is wonderful.
They stand at the gates. Welcome to county.
Waving. Hi. Come on in, y'all.
Today's
3 hots and a cot. Come on this way. Wow. So
today we got Salisbury steak and cornbread.
Oh, I made it myself. So that's who's guarding the jail. Dale and Jean, a married couple who are 65 years old, are guarding the fucking jail.
Yeah.
Mid-60s married couples, which picture your grandparents, everybody. Should they run a jail, you think? Should they be in charge of keeping inmates from escaping? I don't think so.
Or this is a Stephen King book, and this is how they get their victims.
They get their victims, or they're cursed to stay here forever. Yeah. You know what I mean? While their younger selves keep getting jailed, and they're like trying to explain not to get in trouble to their younger selves, but they keep doing it.
Holy shit, yeah.
Until they finally do something horrible enough to end up stuck in this jailer old person suit. I think I just wrote a Stephen King book. So I think we got this, Jimmy. So they go in to unclog the sink, and Jean follows her husband into the cell. And so you want to get, both of them in there. And was just about to lock him in Roth's cell while he fixed the sink, when just as that happened, John Roth pushes Dale Cook aside because he's 65, and then shoves his elderly wife out of the way, and fucking, not elderly, 64, but still shoves elderly. She's a senior citizen. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I'm not saying that 65-year-old people can't do stuff. They can do stuff, but they shouldn't try to keep 35-year-old murderers in their prison cells, probably. That's probably not the best job for them.
300-pound men who just take a step and lean. You know what I mean?
You're bowling over a 64-year-old lady with osteoporosis probably over here. This is it's fucking ridiculous. So he does that, shoves her aside, and forces the door open. So Jean Cook runs from Roth and attempts to lock the doors between the cell area and the adjacent house. It connects to a house, Jimmy. They live in the fucking. They're like people that run a storage facility.
Yeah,
they live in the fucking house next door, and then they go and go into the jail. Yeah, she can go in. Oh, I got a pie in the oven. I'll be right back, and she can go in and check it. And
Jesus Christ.
This is small town right here. This is small town murder.
When the jailers this is better than like a privatized for-profit prison.
Yeah. But this is the jailers are a nice older couple who live on premises and just fucking keep the jail like it's a fucking bed and breakfast in Vermont somewhere. This is ridiculous, man. This is not awesome. How the criminal justice system should be running, I don't think. So she goes and attempts to lock the door where the Cooks live, like I said, but Roth got to the doors first before she could lock them. Then he grabbed a hold of Jean Cook by the throat. Yeah, she went chasing. So he said, boy. You want to come with me so bad? Let's go. And he asked her to give him a gun. She said, I don't have a gun. So then he said, well, then give me your car keys. So she gave him the car keys. And while continuing to hold her by the throat, he walks out the kitchen door and toward the garage.
Oh boy!
Which you got the kitchen door, then you're outside, and then the garage is a separate building. So he's got her by the throat. There's like a foot of snow on the ground. Yeah, she fucking trips in the snow and falls down. So he just leaves her there and keeps going.
Yeah,
right? Which is good move on her part anyway. I would have fell down too. What's he going to do? Come on and help a 65-year-old lady up and then walk her. She could have just said, I can't move my hip. What are you supposed to do?
I certainly wouldn't be giving my best effort to walk if this is me.
I'd be very, nope, it's lumpy. I can't do it. It's slippery. Oh, boy, I didn't wear my galoshes today.
Yeah.
So she fell down. He just takes off without her. Then Jean Cook gets up and quickly, because she's spry, she gets up and runs into the house, calls the sheriff's department, which is just a few blocks away from the jail, right? So in the meantime, while all this crazy shit's going on, Dale Cook, her husband, the other jailer, had gotten out of the cell area, went and got his gun, and then Roth was coming back toward the house from the garage when Dale Cook is there with his gun in his face. He fucking walks right into Dale Cook with his gun pointed at him there.
Yeah.
And he just holds him at gunpoint till the sheriffs arrive. And then he's put in. He was the only prisoner in the jail at the time of the escape. They had one prisoner. I don't mean to put it on them. I get that they shouldn't be doing this, but they had one person. It's not like we were distracted by the chaos of all these people. There was more jailers than criminals, Jimmy.
They literally lost control of 100% of their prisoners.
Yeah. How often are the fucking jailers outnumbering the inmates? If you can outnumber the inmates, that jail should run like clockwork, man. I'm sorry, because it's like 50-1, prisoner to inmate in most big jails.
Right.
These state jails and prisons and shit. This is crazy. One guy couldn't keep him in there.
Maybe this is why. I don't know. Maybe those ones are. Maybe it's better to have them outnumbered.
This is. I don't even know what to say about that. I guess
Having
they
them
could get
outnumbered.
complacent.
Maybe the
they're on their
prisoners are
toes.
just maybe the prisoners are just like, we wouldn't. We'd look like a bunch of sissies if the 3,000 of us took over 6 guys.
That's not fair.
What do we 3,000?
It's just not fair. You know what I mean? I don't like the. Yeah. You know what? I'm about fairness, really. I think
honor and sportsmanship involved in this.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like if we're hunting, we should give the deer weapons. I feel like it'd be more fair. So, I think, maybe if they're super outnumbered, they will be more on their toes, more worried. Where if it's just me and you and it's like, oh, there's a nice young man in cell number 3.
James got it.
That's fine.
Jimmy's got it.
She's making doilies and shit all over the place. So many doilies in this jail cell. It's very strange. People just jerking off into them. Here you go. Here's a mop rag for you, young man. I made it special.
Made you clean up.
Yep. Every guy, when you walk in, you're issued like a bedroll, a uniform. You get like the toothbrush, a bar of soap, and she gives you a doily jizz rag, and he puts it right on top.
Go make a rock out of this.
I gave you 2 just in case just in case. I don't know if you're extra
new.
Energetic. It could be you're new. I don't know what you've been up to on the outside, so use them. No, go ahead and get them done.
I'll make you another.
Just leave them outside, and I'll come and collect them in the morning like a hotel. So she says at this point, right after this, like the next day, there is an article in the newspaper talking about her. Not sure she wants to be a jailer anymore. Jean.
I'm sure it's done. Yeah, the career would be over for me too.
Yeah, she said the only thing running through her mind was that this guy has nothing to lose. He's an accused murderer, which that's a good thing to think.
And he's leading you around by your throat. That's not good.
No. And she said that she started thinking about maybe quitting over this. She says they really have no secure facilities here for a hardened criminal. I really think our type of criminal is getting worse, even in our community. So, they're set up for like, we found you drinking and you were shit-faced, sleeping off over here. This is like the Mayberry jail.
Right.
This isn't set up for a fucking murderer. No. It's just not. Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. The most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's SONOBELLO.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right, let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmy's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah. They're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So she said, talks about all of it, and she says that, Roth asked me for my car keys. I gave them to him, and then he decided I was going to go with him. She said that she slipped on some ice, and then she fled to the house. She said the whole thing. She describes herself as a fairly level-headed person, but she said she was crying and hysterical after this whole ordeal.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't blame her. Yeah. She said now she's ready to call it quits and move with her husband to Muscatine? I don't know what the fuck it is, where he will work as a civil defense director for the Muscatine, whatever the shit, and Cedar counties. No longer there. So that's how it works. She said, she said there needs to be more things going on.
Put in a 2-week notice.
He ends up, more secure facilities. He ends up pleading guilty to jail escape, actually. They charge him with that. He escaped from custody, assault while participating in the felony of escape from custody, and going armed with intent, and then going armed with intent after that because he had picked up some kind of fucking shit. They did drop the second-degree kidnapping charge. That
was nice.
If he pled to that. So now he goes to court, and you think it's been weird so far. Now it gets really weird. Okay. Here we go. He goes to court. Now, first of all, in the pretrial deposition, Sharon testifies that she had, this is in a deposition, never fired a gun of any kind. Ever. Which we know isn't true. Now, so based on this, because this is the deposition that's going to go into the testimony, he says, well, if she says that, then I should be able to introduce her 1965 murder into the case to say that she's an alternate suspect. Because she lied about never firing a gun. So to prove that she has fired a gun, we have to bring this up. All right? So that's the whole argument that they're going to argue about here. That, because it doesn't look good for her at that moment,
No, murder certainly looks bad when a man's been shot through the heart.
It's not great. So the state, it's a state motion state puts up a motion to exclude this here, saying that evidence that would substantiate that Sharon had predisposition, ability, and tendency to commit such a crime, and having committed murder would be more likely to do so again. That's what Roth is putting forward legally here. He argued the evidence he sought to establish would present the jury a fact which the state cannot deny and which would bear directly on the issue, which was that Tina was murdered by Sharon Roth and not himself here. He said based on Sharon's deposition, she would testify at trial that she'd never fired a gun of any kind, and that was critical to his case that he establish her capability and knowledge in using a firearm by examining the 1965 murder trial in which a .22 caliber handgun was used. Mm-hmm. This is a rifle, but same caliber. So, as we told you before. So, additionally, he said he should be permitted to impeach her with evidence of that conviction as well. And he also should be permitted to ask his son, John, who would be a state witness, whether he was aware of his mother's murder conviction and whether he was scared of her in order to establish that John was lying because he's in fear of his mother.
Okay.
Yes, because they talk to John, and John talks about how when his dad came home with the rifle and broke it down, he tried to hide it in a vent in John Jr.'s room, but the pieces were too big, so
they
he couldn't
fit through the grate, right?
So he couldn't get it in there. So that's when he put it with the other shotgun, with two shotguns in a bag behind a sofa in the basement. So John Jr. watching his dad do this this is pathetic. Like, he has to look and be like, Jesus, this is awful, man.
This poor bastard.
Fucking pathetic. So they said that you can introduce evidence of other crimes if the evidence is relevant to a legitimate issue involved in the case, and if there's clear proof the individual against whom the evidence is offered committed the prior crime. Here's where the state's going to say, the state says that, look, we can't have that into here because we don't know if she pulled the trigger on that.
Right. Yeah.
So if we do that, this is going to turn into 2 murder trials, because then we have to
reprove that to prove
we have
this.
to
Right.
re-adjudicate the fucking the entire Walter Adams murder to prove that she shot it, and then it's still all the evidence points to John, though. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
And the judge agreed. He said, "Yeah, we can't have this. Is going to be fucking chaos. The whole trial is going to be about another murder that happened 20 years ago."
That's already done and closed, and she's already served her 12 weeks.
She served her 6 months at summer camp, and she's ready to go. And I think the guy, though, Miller, he ended up serving like 15 years, I think, I want to say, or 10 years or something in that murder. So they both were convicted of it.
Yeah.
So in this trial, it is a 6 men and 6 women jury here.
Half and half, yeah.
So you got a half and half, a nice even jury for him. In the defense opening, the defense attorney here, he says that there's 2 sides to every story, ladies and gentlemen, first of all.
Okay.
My client's bullshit stuff and what actually happened. No.
Yeah.
He said that our version will substantiate all but one of the state's assertions, including there was a sexual, it's not nice, but there was a sexual relationship between the stepdaughter and the stepfather here. That's what happened. So, I mean, we know that. But we also know that Sharon was, quote, emotionally disturbed in recent years. She's been acting violently. She's attempted suicide. She's, shot at her fucking husband and her mother-in-law. She's rammed into a car with her son, all this type of shit. And she said that, and now, the lawyer said, and now she went too far after catching her husband and her daughter having sex. She couldn't take it anymore, and the violence finally erupted. And this is what happens here. So he told the jurors that he would present evidence striking down the key testimony by John Jr. as well, saying that he's just making false statements, linking his father to the murder weapon because that's what his mother, who he's terrified of, told him to say. Wow. That's what happens. So Sharon testifies here. Her testimony's big. Like, this is a major part of it. They said that, the state asks her, like, did you catch your husband and your daughter having sex? And she said no. And she said until this, she never had a clue that they were having sex.
Oh.
No clue. She said, never even crossed my mind. Yeah. Never crossed my mind. Didn't even think about it. So, because that's completely the scummiest thing you can do. To bang your stepdaughter?
That's pretty gross.
21, I don't care if she's 35. You can't bang your stepdaughter. That's the grossest thing you could possibly do.
I mean, he's close in age to her in terms of
14 years.
Yeah, It's certainly legal, yeah.
If they weren't, step fucking family, then
related,
it'd be great. It'd be fine.
If she didn't receive Christmas gifts from him as her father,
love dad, then this wouldn't be weird. Then it would be just, he's immature, she's mature, and they meet in the middle. That's no problem. But no, this isn't that. Or, he's like an actor or something. Some fucking bullshit. No.
Or some comedian.
Some comedian. She then says that, actually, if I had discovered them having sexual relations, there would have been someone dying, but I would have shot John, not my daughter.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
That's the answer.
Yeah. She said that, quote, I would have shot John. Tina was my baby. I carried her inside of me. I don't really love John, though. So, okay. Thanks. What a weird thing.
I used to until this, but not now.
Yeah. She said that she definitely didn't kill her daughter and then frame her husband. That definitely didn't happen because they asked her, did you do that? She said that she didn't know about the sexual relationship at all until after the death, until she heard that about the science of it.
Yeah.
And she said she considered leaving Roth several times, but just stayed with him for the kids, was the quote. So now the defense attorney, he contends that Sharon intimidated John Jr. into implicating John Sr., and meanwhile, she denies that, and so does John Jr. Sharon said that, quote, because John Jr., what happened was John Jr. lied to the cops at first and said, I didn't see any gun, I didn't see anything. But then he told his mom that dad came in with the gun and told her what happened, and Sharon said you have to tell the cops that shit.
Right, you can't keep that.
Yeah,
right.
And he said, I didn't want my father to get in trouble, which is fair. Because he said, I saw the dad with the gun and I figured that he had something to do with it and I didn't want him to get in trouble, so I lied to the cops. Now, that's actually a good thing to do. The defense attorney's trying to twist it to make it sound like like John Jr.'s a liar. Uh-huh. So, he's lying about everything if he lied to the cops at first.
And he's doing that to keep his mom out of trouble.
Exactly. That's why, because he's afraid of you because you rammed into him with a car. That's their whole thing.
And shot at Nana.
And shot at Noni. So she said she also denied having threatened him and also denied that she killed her daughter there. Okay. So son comes up. Here's John Jr. here. He's the key witness in the whole
real
thing.
Linchpin, yeah.
He's the one. He's the one who ties him to the murder weapon. So John Jr. told everybody here that his father had him retrieve several items from the family's garage and hide them in the house. And he told him what that was: the handcuff, wire things, a rope, baseball bat, blunt edge, and 2 blankets. They said in cross-examination, why didn't you tell the cops immediately about all of this? And he said, my father told me not to tell anyone.
Easy, yeah.
He's 13, man. Like, Dad said don't. That's why. And
do what Dad says.
I figured he just killed that bitch, so I didn't want to be next. You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
She said something sweet to him in his ear, obviously.
Yeah. This is a motherfucker
killed her for that. Yeah.
Came home, sands a whole person, and disassembled a rifle. You think I'm going to fucking get in his face and start talking shit with you?
I'm not asking a single fucking question. Hey, Dad, nice to see you.
Yeah, I just opened my fucking, my Silver Surfer and started reading. I have no interest in this shit. So
this ain't for me.
Not for me. He said he was protecting his father because he thought that his dad had something to do with Tina's death. That's why. So that didn't go well, that cross-examination here. So they attempt to show that he's afraid of his mother, and because of that fear, he would lie for her, just like he's saying now that he would lie for his father there. Yeah. He admitted that he didn't tell police about the activities of his father until encouraged to do so by his mother. He also had to testify that he was aware of Sharon's suicide attempts and that he was scared by those, but he wasn't scared of his mother. And he said that his mother never threatened him or asked him to lie. And he also said he loved his dad. They said, do you love your dad? And he said, yes. So there you go. Now, is he going to testify, senior or not, John
He's
Roth?
got to, right?
Absolutely has to. He's going. He has to. He has to explain this shit.
Yeah,
we got to hear
it. You got to say something.
Sir, you've twisted quite the tale.
Yeah.
You can't be some silent being sitting there saying that my wife caught me banging my stepdaughter, so she killed my stepdaughter and dumped her on the side of the road, and here I am. That you can't.
And my son saw me disassemble a weapon that had been proven to be the murder weapon. I had nothing to do with it. You gotta say it.
That's very Tommy boy. If you're going to sell those brake pads, you got to do it in person. You can't just call up. You better go on grab David Spade, jump in the car, and go from coast to coast on this shit. No other way.
Stick your head up a butcher's ass. Come on, let's go.
Get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a butcher's ass, or sticking my head up the cow's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it. It's got to be your cow. Wait, it's got to be your cow. Ah, damn it. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's something like that. I think that's what he said. So anyway, he ends up testifying here, which is obviously the highlight of the whole thing. Everybody's like, here we go. This will be juicy. So first thing they ask is, did you kill Tina Harper? Obviously. Sure. And he said, no, I did not kill Tina Harper. Okay. Well, all right, let's pack it up, everybody. I think that's good, right?
You've heard it here, folks.
We're all buying that, right? Okay, yeah. Jury says good. Wrap it up, everyone.
Closed.
Call the newspaper. Tell them to write some salacious shit about that. His version of the night's events are a little bit different than his wife and his kids here. He said that on the night in question, he said his wife was outraged after learning that he and Tina had been having sex in the bathroom that night.
Oh, boy.
That's what he said. He went to take a bath. And
see, man, baths are so sexy.
Got some fucking going on. Well, they didn't fuck in the bath. They fucked on the bathroom floor, which is way less sexy. Yeah. There's nothing good about a bathroom floor. You have to be so ill that you think you're going to die to sit on a bathroom floor. Like to just sit, I don't care anymore. But to fuck on it, man, wow. How sick are you when you finally sit down there and you're like, fuck it?
It's pretty bad.
You're laying down with your face
I don't even want to live.
Yeah, I don't care. Whatever's down here can't get me any sicker than I am already. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm not going to make it through the night, so who cares that I'm laying here? We've all been there. So
whatever's in me is worse than this.
Yeah, it's way worse, man. Can't hurt me. I'm already messed up. So, he says that his wife is outraged. And he said that he and Tina left the home after being threatened by Sharon. And then later they returned and hid in the basement together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're alone now. That's what's going on here. I just picture that running through the fucking side. This is a ridiculous story. We ran away. You're not a kid that's like in a relation. This isn't Shakespeare. You're her 35. Stepfather. Yeah. We hid in the basement. Darling, we're going to have to hide down here. The grown-ups just don't understand what we have. You fucking idiot. So, yeah, he said that. He said that they hid in the basement.
If you're married to a woman who has murdered before, James, are you fucking around behind her? He's got the absolute balls.
Yeah. You married a woman who's like, I'm recently off parole for what? Right. Second-degree murder. Yeah. You aren't going to fuck with her. You're going to.
Did you say murder? I don't give a fuck what degree it is.
P's and Q's, my friend. P's and Q's at that point. You're not fucking her daughter.
Holy, the balls.
You're not balls. You're not going to have a spa fuck in your bathroom with her daughter when that's the case. That's not happening. No, that's a different thing. So, he said that he left the home. They hid in the basement. Then he said the three of them argued about the relationship after that. Mm-hmm. We all argued about it. So this is to explain, me and Tina left out the front door. That's when John Jr. saw us leave. Yeah. But what John Jr. didn't see was us come back through the basement up into the house and argue about this shit with Sharon. Now, after this argument, it was Sharon who left with Tina. So John's like, I was out at that point. I was home. I didn't have nothing to do with nothing. Yeah. Left with Tina saying she was either going to take her to her grandmother's house or all the way to Davenport home. Either one. But
one way or another, she's not staying here tonight.
Not staying in my house, fucking my husband on my disgusting bathroom floor with my pubes on it. No, it's not happening. So Yeah, she said the next day, he said, I was like, wow, this is fucked up, man. He's like, I just went and laid down and, just had a nice night's sleep. Long day,
Yeah.
Just fucking my stepdaughter, my wife finding out. It's a lot. He said, so he Jesus Christ, man. This is but to say, he had to say this out fucking loud.
Yeah,
so,
after putting his hand on a Bible.
Yeah, so he sat there and he said that the next morning she said, well, I killed Tina, so that ain't fucking her anymore. That's over with.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Then she said, even after admitting murder, she said, I should call the police and have you arrested for raping her. That's what I should do.
Oh.
I'm going to make that happen. I'm going to get you arrested for rape. Well, you just killed her, so what's worse here? What are we talking about? What the fuck are we doing?
You need her testimony to prove that. Where is she?
Yeah, he said, well, that was all it was. And he said they began the affair about a year ago. He's been fucking his stepdaughter for about a year while they were living on a farm in Clarence. And he said that he planned to leave his wife and take his 3 children to Sioux City because he could no longer live with his wife's violent temper.
Yeah.
Couldn't take it anymore. He said, quote, I loved Tina. I was guilty about it at first, but then he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't at all. And they said, well, when you were being interrogated, why didn't you tell this story? And he said, I tried to, but the cops wouldn't let me.
Oh.
He said, every time I tried to say it, they would just tell him, quit trying to drag your poor wife into this. Her daughter's dead. How dare you?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If you really know that someone else murdered, you don't take that. You go, I'm going to yell over you. She told me this and did that. I know, blah, 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 blah. You're going to fucking tell your story.
Yeah.
I know who killed her and it wasn't me. I'm telling you are not going to keep that story out of my mouth. You could be on my chest covering my mouth. You're still going to hear it. I'd be fucking yelling, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I might be saying I want my lawyer, and I'll tell him.
Yeah, either one. Yeah, but you're definitely not saying.
I'm not saying. All right, I'll sit here while y'all go ahead and narrate the night for me.
So his whole story in detail is he decided to take a bath. So he was bathing. He was rub-a-dub sitting in the tub over there. And obviously, who could resist him in the tub? And think about it.
Well, he drains and refills and
sexy. He's just sex in water right there. Just a liquid sex.
Yeah, we can't tell where the water stops and his tits start.
What would it? Okay, let's say he hasn't taken a bath in 2 days. What does it cost for you to take a ladle full of that water and drink it? What do I have to give you? Ladle full of 300-pound unemployed trucker water.
I'll do it with the pickle bag.
No. It's a ladle, and then you have to sit there with it for like 60 seconds before you can do anything. But
before
you have to swallow
it back up.
Yeah. Then you can puke it up. You can drink whatever you want. But 60 seconds of knowing that that's in your stomach and wondering what microbes and shit are.
Is that $100,000 or is that more?
That's
his asshole and balls are in that. It's got to be a lot more.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of water. It's it's highly concentrated. That's my other point. So you're getting some funk. It's not like
it's a gray tint. That's not a good water. It's barely clear.
No, it's brackish. It's brackish, Jimmy. It's not. You don't.
That's almost tea.
It looks like tea. Maybe you can pretend it's tea.
Yeah.
No honey, no sugar though, or anything like that. Can't do it. No milk. No dairy, straight from the ladle. You have to scoop it with a soup ladle.
It's mid 6 figures, I'm sure.
It's a lot, yeah. To be that sick, that would psychologically damage you too, I feel like, wouldn't it?
It's certainly not going to go easy. I have taken a sip of tobacco spit and lost my mind for like 2 weeks. Everything that I drank after that, I was like, oh my God, what is this?
Oh my God, I'm going to throw up. Oh God.
That's the worst feeling in the world when you go, oh no, I know what this is in my mouth.
Have you ever done, this is even worse, have you ever done where you drink something expecting something else.
Yep.
What you're drinking is perfectly fine, but it's not with your mouth.
And you still spit it out.
Yes. I took a sip of what I thought was a Sprite one time, and it was Pepsi. And I took one sip and went, oh, God,
It's
what the fuck?
spoiled.
Who put cigarettes out in this? And then I was like, oh, wait, no, this is Pepsi. It's actually fine. And then but I had to clean Pepsi up off of everything because I thought I had a Sprite because I had drank a Sprite earlier in the day. Not good. So
It feels like,
similar.
It tastes
I
like
feel
it's spoiled.
man. So, oh God, tobacco juice. That is so bad, dude. It feels
It's
terrible.
horrible.
God damn it.
God. Thankfully, it was my own.
Yeah,
somebody else's.
Somebody else's.
I'd spit, vomit, and then probably fight.
Who did that? Hold on. I'm going to throw up on you, you asshole. Who did it? Come over here so I can puke in your hair.
Not a good feeling. Thankfully, I didn't swallow it. I just got it in my mouth and then realized what it was, and then there was an issue.
Oh, I guess so.
And then
a
life
big
wasn't
issue.
the same for a minute.
Oh, God.
Can't trust anything.
No.
Even the air you breathe, I'm like, oh my God, was that tobacco?
What is that? Oh, God. Oh, God. It all tastes like it still. So 15 minutes in the bathtub he's in there. So really soaking.
Yeah.
Man. He said then his bath was interrupted by young Tina. Oh. You can hear wah, 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 wah. He says she was carrying a green blanket in her arms, to lay down. And she said that she, quote, wanted to make love right now on the floor. Right on the bathroom floor. And he said, well, I wanted to, but didn't want to in the own house, but she was just too irresistible. And he said that he was going to tell her, no, I can't right now. But he couldn't resist it. So they made love on the bathroom floor. There. Made love on the bathroom floor. And he said they were getting themselves together. And he said before, Tina was just about to leave the bathroom when he said he heard Sharon coming up the stairs. Just as Tina was walking out of the bathroom.
Tits
with
still out.
Tits, a jizz-covered blanket in her hand.
Yeah.
And her naked, dripping wet, fat husband behind her stepdaughter. She said that he said Sharon yelled at her daughter and then slapped Tina across the face as well. You bitch, how dare you? Slapped her. And then came in and slapped John as well. Came in and he slapped you as he sat in the bathtub washing washing the juices off.
Yeah.
So came in and slapped him. How dare you? Okay, so he said by the time he got dressed and went downstairs, Tina was already gone. Tina had left. He said, I found Sharon in the living room with her coat on, dressing Tina's two young sons to take them over to Grandma's house.
Right.
So, so that's what he said. Tina was already gone. She said that she turned to John, or John says that Sharon turned to him and said she was sick and tired of Tina trying to pull the wool over her eyes. Not going to take it anymore. So he said that he drove his wife and his two, step-grandsons to Grandma Harper's house there. And like that. Now, that's the only thing their testimony lines up on, Sharon and John, is that together they dropped the sons off at Grandma's house. That's it.
Yep.
Everything else is different. That definitely happened. So he then says that they went on an unsuccessful search for Tina at a couple of bars in town. They were searching,
gonna go. Yeah.
Quote unquote. We also had some drinks probably, but after returning, he said he returned Sharon to her mother's house, and then he said he went home. He said, I just went home, and when I went home, lo and behold, what do I find? I hear a little noise in the corner. I'm like, what is that, a chipmunk in here or something? Nope, Tina's hiding in my garage, of course. She circled back, and he said,
all
quote,
around this town looking for you. You've been here the whole time.
Where you been, little guy? Yeah. And he said, quote, Tina was shaking pretty bad and didn't know what to do. He just described finding a lost puppy in his garage is what he found. One time, there was literally a chipmunk or something in his garage, and that's what it was. And he just replaced it with Tina. Just put it in there. He said he opened the door to the basement of the house, and that's where Tina came and hid. Mm-hmm. And, he said between that time, Between that time and Sharon Roth's return, which wasn't until 1:30 in the morning, Sharon didn't come home. He said he went back and forth to his mother-in-law's house about 4 times to check on his wife, which is something that also happened. They both corroborate. So the medical examiners, they estimate Tina was killed sometime between 8:30 and midnight. They said it could have happened a few hours later, though. You never know because of the snow and who knows. When you get freezing temperatures and snow and water involved, all bets are off.
All bets are off, yeah.
Well, yeah, the rigor doesn't work the same. Lividity doesn't work the same. Nothing works the same with temperature. So they said that he left his wife in the downstairs living room of their home, sitting on a sofa and being mad, waiting for Tina to come back. And he said, that's the last I know. I went downstairs, went to a downstairs bedroom and laid down. So I just went and laid down. He said, minutes later, though, I heard my wife go up to their son's bedroom upstairs there and return later to lay down on the sofa. He said then he went to the basement to try to talk to Tina to convince her that we had to talk to Mom about this. Yeah. Listen, Mom's mad. You know, this isn't going to blow over. You got to go talk to her. We got to work this out like adults.
Right.
You know, before long, he said, Sharon was standing at the top of the stairs, caught them, busted them in the basement. She opened the basement door, and there they were at the bottom of the stairs talking. Oh, no. They're doing it again, conspiring against me. So he was like, oh, no. He said that she shouted out from the top of the stairs, quote, I ought to kill the both of you. She shouts out. So
says a murderer. Uh-oh.
Says, I ought to kill the both of you. Yes, as a woman with a murder conviction. He said then a short fight ensued between Tina and her mother that he chivalrously broke up, of course. Ladies, come on. Decorum. Jesus Christ. Think this is the Junior Women's League? What are we doing here?
Also, this is how a lot of pornos start. Let's talk.
Yeah. Also, is anybody else horny? Because I'm horny. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just me or I feel a horniness swelling in the room, right? Jesus fucking Christ, man. So he says that he broke it up. Then the 3 of them went to the kitchen upstairs to talk.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But it ended with Sharon furiously grabbing her daughter to take her home. Let's go. We're getting out of here now, you little hussy.
Yeah.
Let's go, fucking harlot. We're going now. Taking her home. He said that he didn't know whether he was taking that Sharon was taking Tina to grandma's house down the street or to her home in Davenport or what the fuck. But he said his wife didn't return home till 4 a.m.
Wow.
And so at that point, he retired for the night, just called it a night. So he said he woke up 3 hours later at 7 a.m. and he found Sharon crying. It's like, whoa, what happened? Why are you crying? And he said, I asked, where's Tina? And he said then, quote, she said, I killed her.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. I asked her why. And she said, quote, I'm sick and tired of you two. Couldn't take it anymore, so I killed my daughter.
You two, as in the both of us, or me also?
Yeah. Should I be worried, or was it just, did you let out enough of your anger on one of the two of us?
Yeah. I just want to clarify, because you've been convicted of murder, and you just admitted to another one, and I'm worried about my safety. And your wording was real particular.
Look at how, we're in court right now. Look at how suspicious it is, right? She's mad suspicious, right? See, this is how it works. This guy is double talking bullshit. He said that then that's when she threatened to call the cops and say he raped Tina if he would reveal that she killed Tina. Mm-hmm. She told him, quote, you'll be 6 feet under with her. That's what Sharon threatened him. Okay. Oh, so they said, how'd you feel about that? And he said, quote, I was scared. Mm-hmm. I was scared. Oh, man, scared me and my rubber ducky half to death. I tell you what, we were real scared. He said that in light of her past violence, I felt threatened, obviously. Yeah, so then they called up his mother to the stand to talk about the instances of violence, firing the shotgun, ramming the fucking deal. So Sharon Roth testifies to noticing that Tina wasn't really playing Monopoly with John Jr. Because she was thought that's what they were doing at first, but then she saw that John Jr. was just sitting there. She said that was after her husband told her that he was going to take a bath in an upstairs bathroom. What Roth Sr. said here, what he said in his testimony is that John Jr. should have seen his mother going upstairs to the bathroom, but John Jr. said he didn't see that. So that's the difference, because she said, Sr. said, Sharon came up the stairs, caught us, argued with Tina, slapped her, all that shit, which, John Jr.'s like, she never got up. I never saw her go up the stairs. I'm right by the stairs. So that's a problem. John also said that his 13-year-old son, John Jr., was mistaken when he saw his father load and take the .22 caliber rifle from his room that night. That's the crazy part right there. See,
mistaken.
He's mistaken is what it was. I borrowed a camping light. I borrowed a lantern, and he was like, he mistook me putting kerosene in it for loading shells into my fucking rifle. You know how it is. Very similar looking. That's a very obvious thing that you're doing when what did he mistake? It's just a mistake. I mean, it's just a mistake.
See, what he was doing was folding his homework into origami for the teacher, make it like a little penguin. You squeeze it back and forth, and it flaps its wings. Real nice to do. What he thought he was doing was taking a rifle, but it was just origami.
It was just origami. It was just, he thought it'd be fun just to show Sharon. It was one of the MASH games to find out where he's going to live.
Mansion or shack.
I don't know what the results were, but I just heard, woohoo, I'm in a mansion. And then that's the last I heard of it. So I think that they played it is what I'm going to get. So he says that he also says that disputes John Jr.'s testimony, saying that because he said that he saw his father attempting to hide the gun in a heating vent and the vent was too small. And Roth said, why would I try to hide it in there? That's much too small. Yeah. We're like, well, we didn't say you were smart. You're not on trial for having a high fucking intelligence. You're a moron. That's the point.
We said that it was much too small, and that's why you couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's obviously stupid. Fuck, you dumb shit, Roth. So then John Sr. here concedes that he did write threatening messages on his own family car concerning Tina's visit the summer before to scare his wife into moving back to Sioux City. That's what he wanted. He wanted his wife to leave so he could be without her. That was the whole point. So, they had already matched it through handwriting analysis. So he couldn't say he didn't write it. He just had to come up with a reason why he wrote it for court because they were going to ask him about that. A financial assistance worker with the Iowa Department of Human Services office at Tipton said that Roth inquired earlier in the month, this is John Sr., about having his welfare records transferred to the Sioux City area. He said he planned to leave his wife, but he wanted to take his children. So he wanted to keep the welfare. That was the whole point. The agent agreed John Jr. was inconsistent. This is the one of the detectives also on the stand, agreed John Jr. was inconsistent in his recollection of the number of rifle shells he believed his father took when he saw him load the murder weapon. But he said that doesn't mean anything. He's a 13-year-old kid, and his dad, it's pretty weird that his dad's loading this rifle in the room. He might have miscounted shells, So, anyway... They said, well, why'd you try to escape from jail if you're so innocent? And he said that it was all a big misunderstanding. That's all. He said the jailers were mistaken in their recollection. I never asked for their gun. That's not at all. That never happened. They just made that up. It was a mistake.
I just wanted more doilies.
I'm whacking like crazy over here. I'm super turned on. Then they said, well, why did you try to escape? And what were you escaping for? And he said, I wanted to save my children from my wife. That's why. I thought she started with Tina. She's going to kill them all.
Okay.
That's why he escaped from jail. That's what he said. Grabbed a 64-year-old lady by the throat and dragged her into the fucking snow to save him. So, wow. There's some medical stuff here to talk about quickly. When it was found, they said that they think it happened between 8:30 and midnight, the state, but the defense is trying to say that it happened more between 2 a.m. and 9 a.m. area, because that's when Sharon would have been gone and John Jr. would have been asleep and couldn't account for her.
And that fits his narrative, right?
Yeah, that's the only way it works. The Iowa State medical examiner, in a cross-examination, he said that she probably died most likely between 10:30 and midnight, but he said that it is a remote possibility that she died as late as 2 or 3 a.m. Okay. You don't know. So, the closing here, the prosecutor said that, I don't know why he killed his stepdaughter. I don't know what the motive is, other than she may have threatened to tell the mom about it, or who the hell knows. he said that, he doesn't know what to do about it, but he did say he definitely did it. He said only Roth and Tina know the real motive for sure. He then suggested that Roth, his idea was that Roth raped her in the garage, then killed her to cover it up.
Oh.
Which is possible, but the medical examination didn't reveal that.
Right. It
But
doesn't show like an assault. It just shows sexual. Right.
Yeah, it's still possible, though,
Sure.
that would show up that way. So that's possible, but not as likely as they were having an affair, especially with the whispering and all that sort of thing. But we don't know for sure. We just don't know. We absolutely don't. So they said that that could be the reason why, which is a little, he's not being charged with rape, so it's a stretch to be like, he probably raped her too to the jury. You know what I mean? I mean, I get why you're doing it, but that's a lot it's
inflammatory.
A lot. It's a little inflammatory, yeah, which I mean, so's this killing, so I guess it's fine. He did it, so fuck that, I guess. So they said that they argue about the time. They go back and forth like in the closing arguments about time and about all this type of shit. The defense says that an autopsy report made no references to marks, bruises, or other signs of physical injury to Tina. And they tried to discredit John Jr.'s testimony, saying that he was coached by his mother to frame his father.
Oh, boy.
That's a stretch. He's going to go up there and be performative in court as a teenager.
Yeah.
Imagine going into court as a teenager like that, talking about a murder trial where your dad's accusing your mom of murder and the state's accusing your dad of murder. Would you be able to go up there and fucking bebop and shuck all around?
Imagine your mom frames your dad for murder, and then you're the one
and make
at
the case.
13 that's going to make it convince everybody.
You're going to keep all your timelines straight. You're going to keep all that going. You're never going to think about 13. You're never going to think about video games or jerking off ever. That's never going to come up. Okay, sure.
Or panic and just be like, she told me to say it.
She told me, I swear. So then the defense attorney says, why in the world would he bring the murder weapon back home?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because he's a fucking idiot. That's why. He just committed a murder that everyone saw him walk out with the victim. So clearly he's not that fucking bright.
Right.
You don't. That's the worst defense. Why would someone do something that stupid? I don't fucking know. Why'd you do it, dummy? I don't care why you did it. He's a 35-year-old
banging his stepdaughter. What the fuck are we talking about?
He's a fucking hillbilly who bangs his stepdaughter, and what are we talking about exactly? So then the defense attorney cites inconsistencies in John Jr.'s statements to investigators about the number of rifle shells. Initially, he told them 11 shells were gone, but then he wavered on his claim, saying that maybe it was more like 7.
Yeah.
Well, that overrides all the evidence that I can think of right there. I mean, he miscounted shells.
Yeah,
Jesus
but 7's
Christ.
the magic number, so that's a pretty good, accurate guess there.
That's what I mean. Not a bad guess. So the defense attorney tells the jury, quote, he, meaning John Jr., was told by his mother 7 were missing. 7 sounds a lot like 11. That's the only logical explanation for the miscount. His mother told him what to say and he misheard her. That's what the defense says, obviously.
There's 7 holes in a girl, so, I mean.
Open and shut, everybody. That's what it was. He heard 11, said 7. She coached him. If we needed more proof, I think we just got it, right? Okay. This is dismissed, right, Your Honor? We can just all pack up now. Right. Done and done.
Also, she's in heaven. That also rhymes, so it's clearly
I think it works. But it all comes together, everybody. The prosecutor insisted that the John Jr. had no reason to lie about any of this shit. He said, quote, this is the prosecutor, this is not a perfect case. There's no one thing. He said that he encouraged the jury to look at the tally of evidence. Look at it as a whole. It's got to be a whole. It's the puzzle. A lot of prosecutors will say, you got a puzzle up on your shelf. It's an old puzzle. And once that rainy day, you take it down, you start putting it together. There's 10, 12 pieces missing from this puzzle. Doesn't mean you can't see what the puzzle is, right? You know exactly what it is. Yeah. That's what prosecutors say all the time. You got to look at it like the whole puzzle. And if there's enough pieces to make the picture, then you're guilty, which is a really anecdotal way to fucking say you should put someone in jail for the rest of their lives. But it makes sense, though, on the other hand, too.
It does, but not every goddamn case.
No, that's the meaning. But that's what they say when there's missing evidence. You can still see the picture, right?
Oh, boy.
So anyway, the defense said, you may have a gut feeling that Roth did it, but that's not enough, he tells the jury. He says that you must find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and the prosecution just did not do that. I'm sorry. That's that. So the jury, they have a hard time with this one. They deliberate for 17 hours.
Oh, boy.
Which is multiple days.
Yeah.
It's several days here. 3 days, 17 hours before finally coming in with a verdict at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is precarious, 17 hours here. They find him, you, sir, well, no, not yet, but they find him guilty of first-degree murder. So,
wow, first degree.
First degree. Now, the sentencing, it's a mandatory deal, so that's pretty easy. That's you, sir. May fuck off. Life in prison for Mr. Roth here. So he wants a new trial, okay?
Of course he does.
In 86. He wants a new trial because the trial, the judge barred his introduction of his wife's previous murder. So that's his new thing. He got fucked over. So in 1986, the Iowa Court of Appeals grants him a new trial based on this.
Is that right?
Absolutely. But in April of 87, the Iowa Supreme Court reverses the Court of Appeals decision and tells him, no, you're good. Keep on fucking off here, mister. So they said the court initially agreed that he didn't get a fair trial because he was not allowed to talk about that, but now they're saying no. The conviction said the district judge here said the conviction would unfairly prejudice the jury against her. That's how it was. So then in 1991, the Court of Appeals denies his application for post-conviction relief, which was based on the grounds that his attorney provided him ineffective assistance at his 85 trial. That attorney said some of the ballsiest fucking bald-faced lies and crazy assertions I've ever fucking heard.
If there was ever an effective one, he got it.
He worked for his money.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have took 17 hours. No. That's because the lawyer made a case that made people have to talk about some shit,
he was very
timelines,
effective.
and he was effective as you can be when you have obvious evidence that your client murdered this person. So it's kind of difficult. So, that's what he wants. He contends his first trial attorney had a conflict of interest because he represented one of the state witnesses in an unrelated civil matter at one point.
Okay. I mean,
so he didn't care if... So now he would have tried to protect that witness at the cost of putting this person in jail for murder. So if that's true, he should be immediately disbarred.
You should never practice law ever again, because what are the chances in a town that small that everybody in every case ever is going to be completely unrelated?
Totally. So he also, according to Roth, failed to ask for appointment of co-counsel because an initial assisting attorney was discharged for insufficient showing of need. So the state wouldn't pay for it because he's indigent. So he said they should have asked for a co-counsel appointment. That's what he should have done. And, this appeal here, they tell him, go fuck yourself. That's 91. Then in 1994, he has a self-written document contending his lawyer gave him ineffective assistance of counsel. Self-written. How do you think this guy writes legal documents? Well, stepdaughter fucker, you think he's good at writing legal documents? So
bathroom floor fucker, regardless of who the participant is.
Bathroom floor, man. Come on. You better, unless you have like 9 kids and you're hiding from them to fuck quick. That's the only way that's acceptable. This is the only place they won't come in.
And the bathroom's brand new. Nothing's ever been done in there.
Yeah. Well, you have a fucking shower. Why not there? What are you doing on the floor? So I guess she couldn't fit in the tub with him probably the way he is. So I doubt it. So this here, he's going on. And they talk about in 86, they granted him a new trial. And then in 87, they said, just kidding. And then in 91, they deny him and all this shit. 94, they end up denying him again. Obviously. You are a fucking, get out of here, jerk off. What the hell are you doing? So they said they didn't, at the time of the trial, he didn't offer any record to demonstrate a reasonable link between the knowledge required to operate a .22 caliber rifle. This gets real this gets real ticky-tacky because
Murky.
it gets murky because the original court says, well, he should have been able to introduce the evidence that his wife shot a gun, especially at 22. But then the state says, well, she was accused of shooting someone with a 22 caliber handgun, which is much different than a 22 caliber rifle. Who knows that there's no evidence that she knows how to load a 22 caliber rifle like a 22 caliber handgun, and that's what they're arguing about, the differences in loading the particular weapons.
Okay.
That's literally what it is. It's kind of silly. They said also Sharon's prior conviction did not involve dishonesty or false statement, far more than, no, it was murder, which is worse than dishonesty. It didn't involve dishonesty, but she killed a guy. Now, I'm totally on this side, but don't say it like that.
Isn't most murder dishonest? I mean, isn't that?
She's a murderer, not a liar, Your Honor. She killed a guy, then went on the run. That's pretty dishonest. She stole his truck. Stealing is dishonest, is it not? Like, there's so much dishonesty in that. Wow. So they said, blah, blah, blah. She's dishonesty or false statement. Far more than 10 years have elapsed since her incarceration, and Roth made no showing that the probative value of the conviction substantially outweighed its prejudicial effect. Okay. So they said, nonetheless, we again find no abuse on the part of the trial court in excluding this evidence, and while the 65 conviction arguably contradicts Sharon's statement she had never fired a firearm, that contradiction does not make it admissible. Its admissibility turns on its relevance to and status as independent proof of Sharon's knowledge of firearms. You, sir, keep on keeping on, fucking your fat ass off in jail. Currently, he is at the the Des Moines, Iowa Department of Corrections facility here. He is inmate number 0801079, so he's still there.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe you can prisoner dating game this guy. He sounds fun. Sounds like a good guy. He's still alive,
pitch, right?
Dude, he's still alive, and he's got, what is he, 70-something years old?
Yeah.
He's in his 70s now, and that's a big, heavy guy to be in his 70s and in prison.
35 and 84?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, he's in his 70s.
That's crazy, man. So,
damn near 80.
It's almost 80, and he's still going at this point. He was born in 1949. It tells you, so he's 72.
72, Not
so 73 now. January, so 73. 73 years old, yeah. You can call 515-725-5701 to get the latest updates on the visiting application requirements. That was just on the website. I thought it was funny. So you can visit old John Roth. And I don't know, tell him stories of the hot stepdaughters and things like that, and he'll probably get all turned on and jerk off into a doily. That said, everybody, that is crazy-ass Iowa, Clarence, Iowa, and it's quite a weird story. I don't even know what to say about this.
It sounds like what would happen if you tell me a story about Clarence, Iowa. This is probably the one I would make up.
Yeah. If you said small-town murder, what's that about? Like people killing, is like fucking their stepdaughters and killing them? Like that's what you would think, right?
Yeah.
It was a little more stereotypical than normal for us, but that's
right
what it was. That's right on the nose there, everybody. So anyway, that said, that is Clarence, Iowa, and one fucking wild family. There's so many kids running around. Everyone's having kids way early, and
mom figured it out later in life, huh? How to just be on the right side of the law. She had no part of this, and just figured out how to be a decent person after murdering a guy. Being part of a murder of a guy.
Now, the important part we have to talk about is how did this actually go down? Because he left without a gun and with Tina, then went back and got Tina,
right?
And whatever. So they said that Tina ended up going to her grandmother's house. So it seems like he went, dropped her off at her grandmother's house,
came back, picked her up,
came back, got the gun. Yeah, but he had all those other items. Did he leave her out on the side of the road, handcuffed with wires?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Boy.
Did he do that? Did he leave her out there?
Her up to a tree or something?
Yeah, there's rope, and then be like, oh, fuck, man, I forgot my gun. I better go back and get it. And then went back and got it, and then was like, oh, here, I'm back to get you, and then shot her? Is that what happened?
It's got to be it, because he didn't...
Why else do you have those things?
Who knows? Where he put her before he came back with all the murder kit.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you keep that stuff if that's not what happened? And there wasn't... It's very fucked up, but there wasn't like she had no like skull bruises, so he didn't like knock her out with the baseball bat and leave her there. So he could have tied her up, I guess. But there was witnesses that like saw him driving in that area. So that this wasn't like the one of these logging roads we talk about, like the one like the Hardegger case, the small town murder express case where it was out in the middle of nowhere, no one would ever found it. There's people driving all over the fucking place over here, so someone would have seen a 21-year-old girl screaming while tied to a tree, I would hope. I don't know, but either way, that's some crazy shit. If you enjoy that, tell everyone you know about it, and don't stop there. Get on whatever app you're listening on, whatever platform. Give us 5 stars. It is monstrously helpful, so thank you for doing that if you are doing that. Also, you should follow us on social media to get all the latest. We are at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Murder Small on Twitter. Find all of that information there. You should also head to shutupandgivememurder.com, where you can get, first of all sorts of cool merchandise up that's new. There's murder bird stuff. There's all sorts of cool stuff. So check that out. Parrots all over everything. It's very neat. Check out that store, but also get your tickets for not only the live shows coming up throughout the year, which if a show is sold out that you want to go to, keep checking back because these are rescheduled shows. People are allowed to return their tickets. So as they get closer, they're like, oh shit, I can't make it that night. They return their tickets and then you have a ticket now. So check that out. Keep doing that. But most importantly, get your tickets for May the 5th. Holy shit. Virtual live show.
Oh, my God. That's next week.
That's next week. We cannot wait. We will be there. What we do, it's just like a regular live show. We set up the screen and the table, and it's just like that, except you're in your living room or in your car or wherever the hell you are. Yeah. That's the only difference. We do a live show it's just for you. Right. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's available for that day and 72 hours afterwards as well. You can buy it at any time in that window. You can watch it anytime you want after you buy it, multiple times. Do whatever the hell you want with it. We don't care. Don't do that. I was going to say you can shove it up your ass and jerk off to it, but I was like, no, don't do that, please. That would be uncomfortable. I mean, you can. You paid for it, so I mean, whether you want to laugh at a murder story or jerk off to it, that's not our prerogative. You paid for it, so it's really up to you. Do whatever you want, but
I'll tell you how to dress up your truck.
But you can do it for 72 hours after it's out. That's the main point that we're trying to get at shutupandgivememurder.com. And it's going to be a lot of fun, as they always are. Just look on social media at what people say about our live shows. They kick ass, and these are no different. So please come out and do that and support the damn show. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all of your bonus materials.
Yes.
We're not done with you. Yeah, do we do crime and sports on Tuesdays? Fuck yeah, we do. We do Small Town Murder on Thursdays? You bet your balls we do. We do Small Town Murder Express every Friday? Motherfucker, hell yeah, we do. And also, we come with some serious Patreon fucking heat, and we're bringing it this week. The bonus episode this week, bonus episodes, because anybody $5 or above at patreon.com/crime and sports, you're going to get everything. Oh, my God. Crime and sports bonus. What else are you going to get, Jimmy?
That Small Town Murder bonus.
That's goddamn right. You're going to get all that, and you're going to get everything.
And the whole back catalog.
That's all of them. There's over 100 episodes on that back catalog. They can't get all that. They get it all. Oh my God. It's a value, everybody. And if you order it right now, you're also going to get the Pocket Fisherman. You won't get a Pocket Fisherman, but you will get all these bonus episodes.
You will get a shout out.
You will get a
fuck your name up. I guarantee it.
Jimmy will read it while holding a Pocket Fisherman. That's how we're going to do it. Very nice non-stick pan. He's going to work it out. So definitely
I picked it up over at Fishing Gear, James.
Oh, Fishing Gear. They have good shit over there. What section? Yikes. So this week's episodes for crime and sports, which everyone will be interested in this because it's pretty gross. It's almost like if Larry Nassar was a female, like a female wrestling trainer, basically, and a pimp for that matter, because he was absolutely disgusting and molesting people, but he wasn't sending them like out of state to fuck people for money that they don't even get, that Moolah gets, because that's the accusations against Moolah, that she was just absolutely horrible to these women, and plus you would take their money for years and years and years. just for wrestling. Like she was tough. A lot of people say it never happened. A lot of people said it did. We'll talk about it. And it's because it needs to be talked about. Sure. And then very good Dark Side of the Ring to kind of pregame for that too. They have on her. And then for Small Town Murders bonus, we're going to get to something really crazy. We're going to talk about some very specific shit about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
How he got caught, how he didn't get caught, what the fuck was he thinking, what the fuck was he doing in certain things, some very weird shit he said in his confession that was just like, did he just say those words? Very weird stuff.
That?
Why'd you say that, Jeff? It's strange shit. You can get it all and so much more and a shout out and the back catalog, all of it, goddammit. Patreon.com/crime and sports right now. That said, also PayPal if you just want to shout out. PayPal, use our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. God damn it, Jimmy. I need the names of the most wonderful goddamn people on earth who have been so wonderfully generous to us and fucking phenomenal to us. Jimmy, please hit me with those names.
This week's executive producers are Lisa Coltrane. Happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
And she asks that people go to bethematch.com and see if they can be bone marrow donors. See what you can do to save some people's lives. Do it.
That's a nice idea. That really is.
Other executive producers are Jennifer Justice Thompson. Happy birthday. Ben Blake is my personal hero. Heather Norton, Jordan Bennett, Amora Mayo Perez. She's looking for impressions, James, so you have to sing That's Amore, I'm told. I don't know. Do you know anything about it?
That's Amore.
There it is.
Of course I am. A fucking guinea.
All right.
I know. It's Dean Martin, for Christ's sake.
Karen Hensel, Jordan Bennett. Did I say? I did. Yeah, there's also
right.
Jordan with no last name. And Adina Hill and Carlos Flores. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for us. It cannot be duplicated. Other producers are also Jess Quinney Moon. That's it. Happy birthday, Jess. Tiffany Gonzalez got her baby out of her.
Yank it out. Good job.
In a hospital and everything. Congrats, Tiff.
Wow, nice work.
Kieran White in the UK, Liz Vasquez, Peyton Meadows, Laura Boyka Warizniak. I think James Martyr, Judge Chamberlain Holler. Who is that?
That's Fred Gwynn and my cousin Vinny.
That's right.
Judge Chamberlain Holler.
Right. Yeah. Happy Hour in Washington, PA. Thomas Smith, Frank the South African Birdwasher, David Wienerstein, Catherine Collado, Robbie Buckmeyers. Did you say Ute?
What is a Ute? What is a Ute? Sorry. I apologize.
Robbie Buckmeyer's girlfriend, Elia. I think Elia. Janice Hill, Carly Poe. Thank you, Carly. That was sweet. Samantha Quigley, happy birthday. Andrew Welmers, happy birthday. Heather Beauchamp's son, Roger Thomas. I didn't know his name last time. I called him Thomas. I don't know. Happy birthday, Roger.
Happy birthday, Roger
Thomas.
Thanks, Heather.
Valerie Landowski, Azalea Selden, Gabby Smith, Jennifer Wengen, Jody Cook, Casey Mitchell, Allison with no last name, Madison had a baby eats a boy. Oh, Jesus. Lucas with no last name, Paula Bryan, Chris Pierce, Maureen Ingold, Sarah Taylor, Jason Sarmiento, Daniel Lee, Rachel Byford, Molly Campbell, Daniel Hansen, Nicholas Medina, Eduardo Sanchez, Margaret Dobner, Shanice Blackshear. I want to name my daughter Penis and tell everybody it's pronounced Penise.
Penise Wispin.
Penise. That's my daughter Penise. Emily Nash, Beth Scott, Brian Burdick, Randallyn Halada.
My daughter Vagina. Here she is. She's beautiful. Sorry. Jade Thompson, Ian Elliott, Melody Dorman, Aaron and Emily, Tom with no last name, Aileen Heaton, Vicky with no last name, Tierney Honeyborn, Trav with no last name, Quinn B, Christina Wise, yes, Brett Shields, Sarah Kirk, Finch Clybourne, J41E Henriquez. That may be an address. John Country Fried Groundhog Williams, no last name. Trey with no last name. Anthony Walters, Jack Parrott, Tara Farner. Oh, boy. Danny De La Cruz, Jeep Ford, Caitlin with no last name, Nick Scott, 123 Coletta. That might be an address also. Jeez.
I can't tell. Amber Nicole, Mark Calabrese, Groundhogs for Breakfast, Sarah Digger Mency. I dig it too. Ari Nelson, R. Thornton, Bethany Ramsey, Carrie Ochoa, Bailey Rudolph, Michael Hardy, Whitney Vey, Devin with no last name, Mike Koziel, Andrew Nicolin, Barrett Milam, Ashley Wyckoff, David Reynolds, Kyle Loney, Noah Thomas, Jonathan Parker, Diedrich Logan, Jennifer Olson, Ava I, Kirsten Shockley, Jordan Helfer, Tanner Dyke. I don't know. I'm sorry, Tanner. That's a tough last name. Either way, it's no fun.
No, either way, it's not a walk in the park for you, Tanner. That's the problem.
Liz with no last name, Christy Zrust, Lauren Ashmore, Brandon Crump, Cynthia Caruso, Nicole Weir, Lizzie Karainen, David with no last name, Tara Love, Christy Hall, Beth Hines, Ben Cousins, probably not, Dan with no last name, Peter, I hope it is, Peter Green, Rob Dean, Logan Jackson, Jennifer Carter, Destiny Benbow, Arden Thorne, 5, or plural, Austin Stewart, Gabriella Trainer, Kylie Noonan, Tyler Shad, Rachel Reading, Kelly Newland, Gian Su, Ellie Godecki, Tara with no last name, Abby Houston, Jacobs, Evelyn Hampton, Darren Walt, David Beebe, Collie McGuire, Christy Aloysius. Aloisi, Riley Montblow, gay, black, Jewish, Nazi for Christ in Canada. That feels awful to say out loud. Sears Spears, Tremaine with no last name, Andrea LaFond, Blair Osgood, Jamal Evans, Ashley Stevens, Sarah with no last name, Brent Fox, I Am Legend, Donnie Thomason, Shannon E.Z. with no last name, Isaac Vita Torres, Patrick Lull, I think, Kayla Pretty, Michelle Miller, Michelle Hill, that's what that is, Jean Reichsteiner. Rex Steiner? That feels terrible to say out loud. Vinter
John,
D.
Italian. John.
Yeah. Ella Dire, Yanni.
Wow.
Jay Cable, Aaron McCullum, Callie Davis, Allie Fowler, Bethany Cassidy, Jared with no last name, Katie Kovics, Cade maybe, Michelle Tran, Gavin Fossman, John Martin, Cheyenne Edwards, Elizabeth Hayden, Arturo Rodriguez, Jack Peak, Alice Vasovic, George Vaughn III, Brooklyn Spears, Thomas Oberhart, Angela Barron, Jeremy Edwards, Nell Mashroka, Queen Anne and her monkey and her cat monkey. I don't know if it's a cat named Monkey or if she's got a cat monkey.
Monkey.
Megan Richards, Kate M, Jenny Ellis, Veronica McCann, Shell Murdoch, Amber Richards, Celine A. Bray, Bob Rossman, David Bezieff, Jessica Briggs, Anna Tivari, Ethan Woods, Russell Turner, Lance Pearson, Jessica O'Dowd, Sarah King, Alicia Medina, R. Mars, Brianna Forsyth, Jennifer Braun, Leslie Waddington, Samantha Cataldo, Stasha Swab, Jennifer Ellsworth, Tyler Boyd, Natty Piedra, Raven D, K6A6, R6I. That may be an address.
Whoa,
Krista
again, I
Zometa.
think it's an address, like a hopscotch code or something. I don't know.
We may have just given somebody a code somewhere to do something terrible. We have no idea.
So. Yeah,
Angela Thomas.
Activated Reggie Jackson. That's not good.
Lindsay Sweet, Stephen Brandt, Talking Murder with My Mother, Tish Gopel, Kyle Francis, Katie Dorbin, Jordan with no last name, Erica Clark, Michael with no last name, Jason Robbins, Autumn Nicely, Lakeisha Maxer, Kylie Keenan, Josette Tabor, it might be Mr. Tabor's wife, daughter. Tabor.
Sweet.
Shannon Copeland and all of our patrons, you guys are fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
so much.
Boy,
Holy shit. God, you people are nice to us, and we appreciate it, and we'll never stop appreciating it. Yep. Thank you so much. And if you want to get a hold of us, pretty easy to do.
You know what
you can look up Small Town Murder podcast host. You can find people on social media. You know how to do it, and you can do it. So do it. Find us. Keep coming back week after goddamn week, because we're not going anywhere.
No.
We'll be here every fucking week.
Yeah.
And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.